Turn your radios up. Turn your radios up. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know who this is. B-Eazy Dat Dude, an impromptu stream back with another one. This one will be a banger. Will ruffle some feathers, but it will be a doozy. I don't like to keep y'all waiting, especially since it's been a hiatus. But before we get this thing started, I gotta hit you.
If you know the song, sing along. Yeah, you're right.
私も地元のと言っても実は世代で です。もう友達できたの？うん。ぶったまんまこっち見ない方がいいかな。
Been a regular, none of your competitors. Niggas better catch up like 10 steps ahead. Look, this promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. Chicks are showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby, move it for me slow mo. Then I'm right back to the block, cause I keep getting modo. I be flipping, not shrinking. I don't give a fuck about no This nigga name ain't D-Lo, but pimpin' these bitches and stacking this bread forever be my stilo. This is B-Eazy Dat Dude in the trap making pass smooth. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji, eating tandoori and chicken curry. That ism is really in me. My pimp game international. I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of better. And we are activated, and it looks like we've been joined by some anonymous guests, Sue Dickinson. So salute to Sue Dickinson and Nicole Cummins. Never heard of these people, but I appreciate the viewership. So they coming through, and don't worry, we're going to get right into this thing. But let me ask the question, have you subscribed yet? If you haven't subscribed, have you at least hit the like button? It won't cost you a fee. The likes are free. And depending on how this thing go, I may not be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. Lindsay Clancy. Do you know who Lindsay Clancy is? Well, Lindsay Clancy is a woman who unalived her 3 children in January 2023. Her husband, Patrick Clancy, was not involved in these unalivings that was horrific and brutal. Now, when you hear this, you would want to immediately label Lindsay Clancy as a iller with a K in front, right? But not so fast. Some people are saying, you know what? Lindsay is actually the true victim of this all. Despite her unaliving her 3 children, she is in the news because she is being painted as a deranged victim. So we're going to get into that, right? Now, this is a prelude to the discussion. Lindsay Clancy, a former labor and delivery nurse in Massachusetts, is on trial for the unalivings of her 3 children. Cora, who was 5, Dawson, 3, and Callan, 8 months. They were strangled in their Duxbury home on January 24th, 2023. Lindsay attempted a self-unaliving immediately afterward by cutting herself and jumping from a 2nd-story window, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down as of 2026. Now, it's kind of vague with what I'm reading, so I'm not sure if she's just permanently paralyzed for life or if there is a chance of recovery. Now, she has pleaded not guilty, with her defense arguing that she had a severe postpartum psychosis and a mental health issue which drove her to her actions. Now, prosecutors are contending that she acted deliberately and understood the nature of her actions. Now, Patrick Clancy, her then husband, was not involved in the unalivings. On the day of the tragedy, he left the house to pick up takeout and medication for their daughter. Upon returning, he found Lindsay injured and the children in the basement unresponsive. He immediately called 911 and attempted to help the children. Patrick was publicly forgiven. Well, excuse me, Patrick has publicly forgiven his ex wife, describing her as mentally ill rather than malicious, and has testified extensively about her mental state and the events leading up to the unalivings. Now, it's unclear if he's saying that yes, she should get off, get leniency, because he is saying that yes, she wasn't malicious when she strangled her kids to their unalive. He's saying that she was mentally ill. Now, there's many people that were mentally ill, but they don't always get the benefit of the doubt. They don't always have the complexion for the protection of the collection. Now, Lindsay Lindsay Clancy does have a documented history of postpartum anxiety and depression, and it's claimed to have worsened after the birth of their third child. She sought treatment from multiple healthcare providers and was prescribed several psychiatric medications. She was admitted to inpatient programs. Her defense argues that these factors, including postpartum psychosis, impaired her judgment and led to the unalivings of her three beautiful children, which she strangled with her bare hands. Now, the trial began in July of this year, and it has been heavily focused on Lindsay's mental health, her planning of these unalivings, and the timeline of the events. Now, her former hubby, Patrick Clancy, has been a key witness, providing testimony about Lindsay's behavior, her mental health struggles, and the day, her temperament, how she was behaving the day that she unalived their three children. Conspiracy theories have began to circulate, suggesting that Patrick's involvement have no basis in the evidence presented, and all credible reports confirmed he was not responsible for the unalivings. Now, the current status of this is that the trial is ongoing. The jury is evaluating whether she is criminally responsible or she should be committed to a psychiatric facility. So people are saying, yes, she's admitting to unaliving her three children by strangulation, but by her trying to unalive herself so much that she jumped out of a window and is now paralyzed from the waist down, that proves that she wasn't in the correct state of mind. Therefore, she shouldn't go to prison. She should go to a psychiatric facility and be given treatment to try to rectify, prepare, heal, cure this mental illness, or at the very least, she should be giving some sort of preferential treatment. Yes, she is a baby unaliver. Yes, she is a schmurder person, right? A schmurder practitioner, let's just call her that. However, all schmurder is not the same, right? Because the argument, and these are not my arguments, the argument is that, yes, she is a victim. She's a victim of mental illness, and you don't want to be an ableist and shame and shun and demonize and ostracize someone based on their mental illness. And others are saying, nah, she kind of knew exactly what she was doing. So it's up to what the jury will believe. And I believe that she does have the complexion for the protection of the collection. So I wouldn't be surprised if she got off. There has been a growing contingent of people that are expressing sympathy and empathy for Lindsay, saying, you can't charge her. You can't say that she's the same as someone that's doing a drive-by and, on civilians, right? Both of those people will be considered mentally ill, but her mental illness is a little bit different, right? According to what? Some level of clinical analysis, right? So let me see what the chat is saying. And shout out to Big Rig. And Big Rig, have you been following this story? Mr. 350, the big block boat rider. When you said, huh, what exactly were you referring to? If the gods were real that the humans made up, where does she go? Well, you would have to tell me that, Steve Banyol. I know, Steve, I've seen you here before. It's either a troll or a bigot or a bigoted troll, one of the two. But salute to Steve Banyol. But I don't know, where should she go? Some are saying that she shouldn't go to jail. She shouldn't be thrown in prison like a dog or like an animal. She should be in a psychiatric facility where they try to give her pills and, fruit cups and pudding pops and try to see if they can cure her mental illness. Okay. Uh, you know, he trying to get her off on a mental issue. Exactly. That's what they're saying. They said she suffered from a mental episode and she shouldn't be charged. So let's see. Let's get into the opposing views. What do you think about that? And have you been following this case, Big Rig? And again, whose culture is this, right? Because we've defunded a lot of mental health institutions in America. So, you know, is this a product of that? But let's try to break this down a little bit further. Now, the opposing views. Now, Lindsay Clancy in trial in Plymouth, Massachusetts, has drawn national attention. This is a high stakes case about criminal responsibility, mental illness, and maternal health care. See, they're making it a feminist issue, right? Because they're saying, no, this isn't about a parent who unalived their 3 children. This is about maternal health, which they say she received inadequate maternal health care. But you know who receives the most inadequate maternal health care? You guessed it, Black women, Black American women, to be more pointed. But where's the outrage? Where's the national attention for that? Instead, they try to frame it as woke and CRT, but it's like, okay. Now, the two main sides, the prosecution and defense, present sharply different narratives when it comes to this Lindsay Clancy case. Now, the prosecution's position is that Clancy was of sound mind, that she was clear and coherent when she unalived her 3 children, those beautiful babies, 5 years old, 3 years old, and 8 months old. What type of mind state do you have to be to you strangle a 5-year-old to death? Once you're done with that one, you strangle a 3-year-old. Once you're done with that one, you go to the 8-month-old, allegedly. Now, we know factually that they were strangled and unalived. I don't know the order. It doesn't really matter the order. I'm just saying that has to be a very sick, twisted, deranged, demented, and disgusting mentality. One baby is enough. But after one baby was strangled, it clearly wasn't enough. Another baby got strangled, and then another one. And then not only that, this person tried to unalive themselves. Now, this doesn't sound like someone that was in their right state of mind. I'm going to say that, but I don't know. I don't know what led up to that. Her husband could speak to her behavior. Regardless, there's many of people that weren't in their right state of mind. Sometimes people take a little bit of lean, take a little bit of heroin. You feel me? Drink a whole bottle of Jack Daniels, and they're slurring their words. They're stumbling. They're not in their right state of mind, and then they go commit a crime. And you can't say, you know what? I feel sorry. I didn't really mean to commit that crime, but I was drunk out of my mind. I was high off crack, you know what I mean? Heroin and anything that you can think of. That person wouldn't be in their right state of mind. They still will be held criminally responsible and liable for everything that they've done. Now, some of the arguments that she's making is that she was supposed to receive a decent and adequate treatment by her healthcare providers, which they didn't provide her, which led to her postpartum psychosis, which led to her going on this deranged unaliving spree of her own offspring. Now, the prosecution is saying that these killings were planned and deliberate, and they're saying there's evidence of premeditation, that she was capable of understanding her actions. The state's case will emphasize that Clancy strangled her children with resistance bands while her husband was away. So it wasn't even just with her hands. Apparently, she used some exercise gear to strangle and unalive her own kids. Now, she attempted suicide by cutting her wrist and jumping from a second-story window, which left her paralyzed. They contend that her mental history does not excuse the crimes, and that if she was convicted, she would face life in prison without parole. Now, this stance has been met by some in the public as calls for justice and accountability, while others see it as cold and unempathetic given the victims' ages. So now they're saying, well, you know, you have to take in consideration how young they were. Now, in the defense position, Clancy, who is led by attorney Kevin Reddington, admits that she unalived, but she argues that she was suffering from severe postpartum depression, bipolar disorder, and postpartum psychosis, as I said earlier, but this is just for those who are just tuning in. They claim she was over medicated, so they prescribed her too many drugs, and drugs are bad. Okay, so the drugs made me do it, right? She's been underserved and experienced hallucinations. Welcome to being Black in America, right? Except with the over medicated, they'll under medicate you because they're saying, oh, well, you're a Negro, you can take the pain. Plus, I don't want you nigs selling that drug now. You hear? You feel me? So they'll over medicate some and under medicate others. We're always underserved, marginalized, etc. Right? So if we're looking at this person who is a Lily W person who believes that she was underserved, if they're underserved in their own community, what do you think they're doing to the quote unquote Black people? Right? Now, the defense says her mental state left her unable to understand or control her actions, and that her medical team failed in its duty of care. They frame her as a very loving mother who was in a difficult mental place, which has resonated with many who see this case as a tragedy and a mental health crisis. They don't see this as a malicious, murdering mother. They see it, no, she was a victim suffering a mental health crisis. Now, this narrative has generated sympathy for Clancy, but it's also drawn criticism for those who believe the mental health defense is being used to evade responsibility, right? Now, supporters of the defense view this trial as exposing systemic failures in maternal mental health care and highlight Clancy's alleged psychosis and lack of treatment. Notice that they want to focus on maternal basically lack of treatment, lack of resources, lack of dedication. But guess who suffers from that the most? The group and the demographic that suffers from the systemic failures the most, they're telling you to shut up and get over it. Pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Why aren't people telling Clancy to pull herself up by her mental bootstraps? Stop complaining. Stop having a victim mindset, Clancy. They're not saying that. But if it was another demographic with a darker skin pigment, we already know what we're being said. Stop acting like a victim. But if I'm being victimized, I'm not acting like a victim. I'm responding as a victim that's been victimized. I'm not acting like anything. Now, critics of the defense see that this case is an example of a mother who should be held accountable for her children's unalivings, regardless of mental health issues. Now, this tension of these perspectives is highlighting justice versus compassion, accountability versus understanding, and this has been central to the ongoing debate. In short, the prosecution's view is that Clancy is criminally responsible and should face time in prison, while the defense view is that her mental illness negates responsibility. These opposing narratives have produced both sympathy and disdain in the public eye. And there's definitely, oh, snap, hold on. This can't be who I think it is. Hold on. The lovely Miss Harris, is that really you? Hold on. Do I got it here? Do I got it here? Hey, Miss Harris.
Oh, damn. Dr. Press. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I know you. Wait a minute.
Salute to a tribe called Harris. So go over there and subscribe, become a member. They always cooking up something, a lovely, beautiful family, you know what I mean, that is preaching, amazing things, about accountability, but about achievement as well. So salute to the tribe called Harris. I respect you sliding through. Hey, I had to hit you. Salute to the tribe. And no, is it the UK fam? Dropping the T. I need a spot of it. Salute to dropping the T. Hey, I like that profile pic, but you look mean. You know what I mean? Like, if I seen you, I would ask you, would you like a spot of tea? But it looks like you might like punch me or something, like dropping the T. Drop the frown. Turn that frown upside down, dropping the T. But salute the UK fam and salute the East Coast fam, a tribe called Harris. And I do appreciate the work that you're doing over there with your content. Hey, dropping the T, I ain't lying. If I'm lying, I'm flying. And right now, I'm still on the ground. But and Tribe Called Harris, I don't know if you still here, but what do you think about this Lindsay Clancy? Is this a case of she's trying to dodge accountability, or is this a case of someone that literally is going and having a mental episode? I'm going to move on to my next topic, but now that I have some respectable women in the house, I would want to know what you guys think. And if y'all just came in passing to say what's up, it's all good. But this is what I was touching on, Lindsay Clancy. So before I proceed, I would love for anyone that's still in the chat. Do y'all believe that she should be in prison or she should be in a psychiatric facility? Why or why not? And take the emotion out of it. Put the logic, reason, and rationale into your decision. So we're talking about Lindsay Clancy, who had a documented history of postpartum anxiety and depression. She unalived her 3 beautiful children. One was 5, one was 3, one was 8. It's alleged that she used some athletic weight resistance bands and strangled them one by one. Then she cut her wrist and then jumped out of a 2-story building that left her paralyzed from the waist down. What do y'all think? So y'all let me know in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot. It seems like we just got some, people that are viewing this, but not necessarily engaging with the chat. And that's okay. Viewership, that's still support. Okay, there we go. We got Miss Harris. We're not dismissing her mental situation, but she did try to jump out of a window. That sound like meditation. So I need a little bit more clarity on this, Miss Harris, because that's what I was breaking down. Because when we're talking about a sound and a rational and reasonable mind, there's no one that would say that it's reasonable for a mother to take a exercise resistant band and strangle their kids one by one. Because once you strangle one, then you got to go to the other one. Then you strangled the second one, and then you had to go to the other one. And then as you're looking at 3 unalived babies that came out of your womb, You attempt to slit your wrist, and the slitting of the wrist wasn't enough. You jumped out of a window, which left you paralyzed. So was the slitting of the wrist a snap into reality? Oh my God, look what I've done. Or was it just, fruits from the psychotic tree, which they're arguing the postpartum psychosis, which is a real thing. Now, the severity of it, I haven't never seen this level. Sometimes it's usually, the bipolar, the mood swings, the fatigue mentally, the lack of sex drive, the low self-esteem. People have talked about it in that sense, and the violence has been reserved towards, you know, uh obscure incidents. Now this would have to take the cake, but you know, and dropping a T says, I'm 50-50 because the husband gives a weird vibe, but if it was psychosis, hospital, as she was all there. Now, the husband, yeah, he wasn't there. Yeah, and the case is still ongoing. And this has happened, I believe, in 2023. So the case is going on, and you said when your mental goes, you're a different person, in my opinion. And I would concur with this, but how far do we want to go with this, right? Because are we talking about, are we only limiting this to specific disorders, or are we saying that when someone is just not in the right state of mind, period, right? Because people get drugged all the time, right? So sometimes it's typically a nefarious drug, right? A dude may want to drop a roofie in a chick's drink because he wants to get in her pants. So literally that chick wouldn't be in her right state of mind. She may be, hungover. She may be drowsy and falling over. So she couldn't have consented to anything based on, some legal substance that she was drinking dropped in with an illegal substance, right? So where do we draw the line between someone that was drinking a legal substance that wasn't in their right state of mind, and then they do something that they are regretful for? And then you say, yeah, well, you know what you was doing. Well, did they? This person was high off fentanyl, drunk off Jack Daniels, and snorted a few lines of coke. Now, yes, this person has to take responsibility for their actions of taking this coke, right? And then when she said she was over medicated, did she over medicate herself? Like the doctor prescribed take 2 a day and call me in the morning, and then she took 6. So again, like there's a lot of questions to be asked, because she did that. The defense is arguing that she was over medicated, but did she over medicate herself? And if we're going to give weight to this defense, if someone over drinks themselves into a drunken stupor and they happen to unalive someone via a drunk driving incident, or they black out and get into a fight and slam someone's head on the ground and say, hey, I didn't mean to do that, I wasn't in my right mind, I became a drunken rage person. Are any of these gonna hold up? Or are they different, and why? Because is it only about the mental illness, or is it about being in the right state of mental, acuity at that particular moment? And Mrs. Harris says, I would say she should be in jail, not a hospital. I believe she was aware of the action and the consequences. I was asking for clarity. That's pretty clear, Mrs. Harris. And this is where the debate comes in. Some say it shouldn't even be a debate. And this is why I talk about Dubb Privilege. I believe she has, let me pull her back up one more again. Let me pull her up. I believe she has the complexion for the protection of the collection. Now, if it was someone that looked like Mrs. Harris, or someone with a darker skin pigment, some people would say, hey, this is just their culture. She was raised by a fatherless home. But I mean, who raised Lindsay Clancy? Like, does anyone know about her parents? Was she raised in a 2-parent home? Was she raised with a silver spoon? Was she raised on Section 8? None of these questions are being asked. I wonder why. It's just all of the angles they do, like they're always lightening her. They always try to make her appear as not like a criminal. They try to make her seem as like a glamorous mom. It's like, okay. And then, some dudes, there's some horn dogs that are saying, I don't even care if she unalived her kids. I mean, you see these people over here. Let me try to pull. You see the people in the pink over there. Those are all of her supporters. Now, when it's a darker person, they try to find the most raunchiest, mean, mugging photo. You can't find any photos where she's mad. She just looks like she's either smiling or she's just looking sad like a victim. So who really is the victim here? Remember, there's 3 beautiful babies who have been unalived, but most of the case has been about how much of a victim Lindsay is. Again, look at all these photos. Every photo, she has the same face or she's either smiling. Where's her mugshot? Like you got to like kind of dig and search, like where the heck is her mugshot? Guess whose mugshot you seen plastered all over the internet? Carmelo Anthony. You can't find Lindsay Clancy's. So Carmelo Anthony stabbed, and you can say obnoxiously, he used too much force, but Carmelo Anthony stabbed a bully, a bigoted, thuggish bully in a heated moment. Fine. He got locked up, right? Every moment they show him, they showing a picture of his mugshot. Here we have a person, whether it's postpartum or whatever, 3 babies were strangled until they couldn't breathe anymore. But you can't even find her mugshot. All you find is shots of her with makeup, smiling. Okay, but let me guess, that's not by coincidence. And then you said, did she have it or pretending? Are you talking about the postpartum psychosis? I believe that will be revealed in the case. I can't say, like, I'm being an impartial analyst. I'm not saying one way or the other she should be fried, because I have to take a more careful and closer look at all of the evidence. I'm just saying, on first glance, once I first hear the case, I'm thinking, yeah, put her in a prison. But if there is compelling evidence that, she was under some state of psychosis, I'm not saying that she shouldn't still be in prison. I think that should factor into the sentencing, right? It's a very complicated and precarious situation that we're dealing with. And salute to the New Orleans fam, the 504 boy. Whoa, what up, Braxton? I would say they wasn't all there, but it's different from a mental snap, I think. And that's what I'm saying. Who gets to make that distinction? Because we're all, the crux of the argument is about the mental state of mind, right? Because when they ask you, hey, do you understand these charges, right? Or they'll say this person isn't mentally fit to stand trial. Is that always about just a simple mental illness? Is it, about a self-induced mental illness? Do any of these things matter? But salute to Mrs. Harris. You said, and there's no rhyme or reason to off a kid nor anyone else. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. That's why you can't like just answer this complex situation with a simple she's guilty case closed. Yeah, she may be guilty, but guilty and liability are separate things in this court of law, right? Because they can say you're guilty or something, but if you weren't mentally competent, you may not necessarily be liable for what you're guilty of. It gets extremely convoluted, and it gets even more emotional when kids are involved. People describe the mental snap as them seeing themselves in third person, but can't do anything. Also heard of them not remembering anything too. So it depends. Yeah. And this is what I'm just trying to allude to, right? There's no one size fits all when it comes to mental health, right? Someone suffering postpartum psychosis and she alleges to have bipolar disorder doesn't mean that all bipolar people are going to act in the same manner simply because they have the same disorder. But that's the thing about Pandora's box. It's opened, anything can come through. The precedent potential of the case is monumental. Correct. And this is why it's gaining national attention. And this is why, because the words matter. And this is why they love to use very vague, nebulous term that includes a large swath of people, things, places, etc., because it could muddy the water, and it can also distort the definition. The definition can become fluid rather than rigid. You know what I mean? So, if this is all about mental health and psychosis, look at the dude, because they keep talking about that dude. There was some black dude who unalived, allegedly, some Ukrainian chick. I think her name was Irina Zarutska or something like that. RIP, don't want to butcher her name, right? But this dude, he was a schizophrenic. He had documented history of his mental health, that it was basically declining and it was fully degraded. They knew that, but they wanted to defund all of these mental health institutions. They're like, dude, we don't want to deal with you. You're a whack job. So they just threw him out to the streets to let the citizens and civilians deal with him. And unfortunately, this alleged whack job whacked some Ukrainian immigrant who, of course, had the complexion for the protection, right? And they're saying, no, fry him. He's guilty. He's guilty. But they were saying, bro, this dude ain't competent to stand trial. He doesn't even know who he is. And they're saying, no, we don't care. They want to fry him. But with this lady, people are saying, nah, you got to have some sympathy for her. You know what I mean? Why? Because some of these dudes want to smash. Some incels want to smash. Even after she unalived 3 children, even after she jumped out of a window and paralyzed, there's some dudes that are like, well, where's her GoFundMe so I can send money? Like if she had and I'm being facetious, but I mean, stop me when I'm lying. If Lindsay Clancy made an OnlyFans right now, you think it wouldn't pop? You think it wouldn't make a lot of money? I mean, she already has hundreds upon hundreds of people outside of outside of the courthouse saying how much of a victim she is. I mean, I'm just saying. So they love to talk about the black community and accountability. The black community got an accountability problem. Who's taking accountability for this, right? If one hood rat black woman is twerking on a car in the hood in Memphis, then all beautiful, virtuous black women have to answer for her behavior. But then when you look at this chick, do all white soccer moms have to answer for her behavior? Do all white liberals, do all white evangelical Christian moms have to answer for her behavior? See, one black woman twerking, that's black culture. One white woman strangles 3 of her kids. No, no, no. That's not white culture. That's postpartum psychosis. Oh, okay. But, you know, we're going to go ahead and move on. I do appreciate y'all. I'm going to get to the comments, though, and salute to Frank Nitty, Mr. Gritty, putting on for the biddy. So salute to dropping the T. Frank came in hot. He come in hot. He said she get no passes. Well, she was suffering from postpartum psychosis. This is what's alleged. I'm not saying whether it's true or not. I'm just saying it's alleged, and we have to wait for all of the facts to come out. You saying she needs to be unalived. Interesting. It's a tricky one with mental health. I concur. It's a complex situation, right? So there's no one size fits all when it comes to sentencing, when it comes to how you deal. You have to deal with each individual instance. You have to look at the background, the environment. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances when it comes to this. And we've been joined by Mr. Midnight Soul, chatting from an undisclosed location in Northern America. Salute to Last Call. And shout out to Big Rig. He's still rocking out. And you said, yeah, the incident with that young Ukrainian on the subway was effed up, a pure tragedy, racist, insecure dubs made it a color thing, of course. Exactly. That it was a black dude who had dreads who just was whacked out of his mind. He wasn't whacked out of his mind because he was black. He was whacked out of his mind because he was suffering from schizophrenia. If you look at how many schizophrenics in America, there's more non-black schizophrenics, right? So it's not a quote unquote black issue. There was another schizophrenic nut job who had unalived a beautiful black woman in the Bay Area on BART, just stabbed her in the neck just for no reason, right? And people were saying, no, you can't blame him. He wasn't in his right mind. But then when you have a clear case of a person who wasn't in his right mind, because these mental health institutions have been defunded, right? Telling people to pull yourself up by your bootstrap. The dude doesn't even know what a boot is. That's how zonked out his mind is. And you throw them out there to the public. And then when they inflict harm on the public, rather than making it a mental health crisis, an issue, they make it about color. That's black culture. Black schizophrenia isn't black culture. Like, what are we talking about here? But because some people are so thirsty to blame the blacks and the didn't do nothings in 1350, you're so desperate and pathetic to blame us that, people subscribe to this mentality. But really think about this. Think about how idiotic this is. They say that black people are too stupid to organize, right? You're powerless. You have no power. You can't even stick together. Okay, so if we don't stick together, we're unorganized and we have no power. Why are you blaming us for everything, right? Why aren't you blaming the powerful? You're blaming it. Y'all don't have power, but I'm going to blame you. Well, you won't blame the people in power. Y'all don't got money, but I'm going to blame you. But you won't blame the people that got all the money. It just doesn't make any sense. And remember, these are the people that are purporting to be high IQs. Now, we're going to get into another instance of Dubb privilege that was rather pathetic. And you see why I said, where's the RICO? You know who they tried to hit with a RICO? Diddy. Diddy had bottles of baby oil. Yeah, Diddy had a bunch of baby oil and he was doing consensual acts with that baby oil. People act like Diddy had pounds of cocaine or fentanyl. He had pounds of baby oil. And they're like, yeah, but he was rubbing niggas down. Yeah, he was rubbing niggas down that was consensual. Niggas wanted to get rubbed by Diddy, right? That's why they went to the Diddy's party, right? And he wasn't just rubbing niggas, right? You seen the thing with Cassie. Cassie was allegedly getting peed and pooped on, and she liked it, right? But then they wanted to say that Diddy should have had a RICO, that Young Thug should have had a RICO, because if you listen to his lyrics and he's a gang member, and then those gang members were doing, a lot of violence, so we're going to give Young Thug a RICO, right? Why was there never a threat of a RICO for anyone on the pedo list, right? They should have said, you know what, we're going to give Epstein a RICO. That wasn't even in discussion. Harvey Weinstein a RICO. That wasn't even in discussion, right? But we're going to give a rapper a RICO. We're going to give someone who has a proclivity for rubbing people with baby oil. Yeah, that's the guy we're going to give a RICO. But guess who they won't give a RICO? Those frat boys who turned the frat house into the trap house. Now, do y'all know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about? Let's get into it. Give me uno momento. I'm going to go ahead and share this like that. Bada boom, bada bam. Have y'all heard about this? Let's get into it. Now, frat boys. These frat boys turned the frat house into the trap house. Authorities have charged 14 people, including current and former Penn State students and one student's father who raised these people. Find me the brothers, right? They love to talk about black culture. Whose culture is this, right? Now listen to these names, right? Because they love to talk about foundational Black American names, Jamal, Marquise, Marquavius, you know what I mean? Marquand, you feel me? Shaquan, you know what I mean? Saquon, LaQuanisha, right? Those names are funny, right? They love to talk about people that are going to HBCU campuses in bonnets, do-rags, and furry slippers. Let's talk about Penn State. There is a dude that they were calling Pablo Plechkabar, right? They were trying to be funny, like, bro, you the Pablo Escobar of the colleges, bruh, or of at least at Penn State. If this is going on at Penn State, do y'all think this is the only school that this is going on? Why aren't they being charged with the RICO? I mean, what is worse? Diddy having bottles of baby oil rubbing down people consensually and having freak offs, or 14 plus people running a cocaine ring at a notarized university? I'm just saying, they're dope dealing. Meanwhile, Diddy was dealing bottles of baby oil. Which one is worse? Someone trafficking cocaine or someone having freak offs with people that's consensual, right? So these dudes will probably get a slap on the wrist. They're going to treat them like kids, even though they're in their 20s. And even the ringleader is 24. They were calling, they're calling, if you're 16 as a black dude, they call you a man. At 24, they're trying to call these, look, a shy member and former Penn State student, right? You know what I mean? You won't hear that he's a man. Even when you look at Nolan Wells, they keep saying Nolan Wells friends. And when the boys went to Horror Island, like, what boys, bro? They were all 18 plus. So where were the boys? Those are young men. So Agostino, I'm just saying, look at the names. Agostino Abatiello. I'm just saying, what kind of name is that? Don't take my word for it. Look it up. 24, a Sigma Chi member and former Penn State student, is accused of being the top of the food chain. So this is the big dog. You feel me? Like Turf Talk said, 24 feeling way OG. Once you in the midst of it all, 24, you like a triple OG. You feel me? Especially to the college freshies who are like 17, 18 just coming in. 24, you're the big dog. You the old head, right? Now, prosecutors say he made multiple trips to Philly and New York to obtain large quantities of that booger sugar. Then he oversaw cutting and packaging inside fraternity houses. So Pablo Plechkabar, so Agostino Abatiello, was essentially the Dubb Nino Brown. Now, when you look at the name, you like, is he really Dubb? Yes. These people, despite their names, there's no race called Latino. There's no race called Hispanic. There's no race called Middle Eastern. You can pretend as if these people are not WHITE, but that's how they're classified. There's no gun to their head forcing them to check that box. And if they're not that, then there should be a massive movement among the Dubs to say that, no, this is unacceptable. This is ethnic, cultural, racial erasure. But that's not what they're doing. Due to limited and low birth rates, they're adopting a lot of people into whiteness and saying that, come on aboard, you know what I mean? And then this is why people like some in the Hispanic community have terms like blanqueamiento, mejoró la raza, which means lighten, brighten, and whiten the race. So yeah, we're not white, but if we continue to have this lighter, whiter offspring, then we'll be adopted into whiteness and we'll be able to fully assimilate, and that will be their destiny, to be under the mythical banner of whiteness. But under whiteness, there's still hierarchies of whiteness, right? A white Anglo-Saxon Protestant will acknowledge that someone from Slovenia or Bosnian is racially considered white, but they won't see them as the same stock as a quote unquote heritage American white. They're like, yeah, you're white and you can help us subjugate the blacks and uphold white supremacy, but yeah, you're not the premium stock of white. You know what I mean? So Thomas Robinson, this sounds like, someone from the soil. is alleged to have handled downstream logistics and distribution, selling that booger sugar from his frat students via Snapchat and Cash Apps. Other defendants, Mohammed Hurabi, Lars Ziepfat, sounds like some H-1Bs, right? They face felony corruption charges, conspiracy, and dealing in proceeds of unlawful activity charges. Now, they had pledges which included indoctrination rituals that involved cutting and packaging the cocaine. So they're saying, hey, look, if you want to be a part of this frap, you need to be a part of this trap. So you need to cut and package this to let us know that you ain't going to be some snitch, to let us know that you ain't going to be some rat. You know what I mean? This is how you pledge your loyalty, is by cutting and packaging. I don't think they cooking nothing, but they are cutting a lot of stuff. Now, this operation allegedly involved Delta Upsilon interim suspension by Penn State. Like, what do you mean interim suspension? Like, shouldn't this, fraternity, shouldn't they just be shut down? And Sigma Chi not officially recognized by the university. So how was this unofficial fraternity allowed all this access to Penn State? Now, cocaine was reportedly brought into State College from Philly and New York, then cut and packaged inside off-campus frat houses. Distribution was primarily to Penn State students with transactions in cash or through payment apps. This sounds like a RICO to me. A confidential informant purchased coke from Robinson 6 times in late 2024, leading to his arrest and the subsequent unmasking of Abatiello. The grand jury found that Robinson's father, Paul Robinson, was charged with felony tampering and hindering apprehension for allegedly concealing drugs and cash in a safe. 4 defendants face felony conspiracy, corrupt organizations, and dealing in proceeds of unlawful activity. 8 others face misdemeanor possession and drug paraphernalia charges. Abatiello surrendered after failing to appear for arraignment and was denied bail. Robinson's bail jumped from $150K to $1.5 million after rearrangement. Now, official statements. Attorney General Dave Sunday called this case very serious criminal conduct and emphasized that there was nothing junior or childlike about the trafficking. Well, if there's nothing junior or childlike about the trafficking, he's saying, nah, this was serious. This was what the big dogs was doing. Why is no one mentioning RICO? Again, they were trying to throw a RICO at Diddy for having freak offs that were consensual, but he had bottles of baby oil. Meanwhile, these dudes were over there selling tons of coke. I mean, what is worse, selling a bunch of coke to students on college campuses, or grown adults knowing what they want to do? Hey, Diddy's having a freak off. You know what's going to go on over there, right? You know what type of stuff is going to go on. Yeah, I know. I'm still want to go over there. No, that's a RICO. That's a RICO. How? It just doesn't make any sense. It does when you consider the underlying Dubb privilege and Dubb supremacy that's always at play. It's unfortunate and it's rather pathetic. Now, how many of you guys have been following this case? This is what you call the complexion for the protection of the collection. Those frat boys, every day I'm hustling. They was over there, whip it real hard, whip it real hard. They was whipping that coke. I'm talking about the coke was more whiter than a full season of the Dawson Creek show. I'm just saying, whiter than the Aspen. They was over there moving that white. I pushed that white girl, Christina Aguilera. I'm saying they was over there moving that Madonna. They was moving that Britney Spears. But notice, no one is talking about who raised these people, right? And these people were raised not, I mean, there's no talk of these boys being raised on Section 8. There's no talk of these boys being raised in a fatherless home and surrounded by dilapidated buildings. So they had to turn to a life of crime. No, these were educated people, so educated, so privileged that they got into Penn State. And guess what? There's like, you know what? We gonna sell coke. Okay, you understand why the dude, right? The dude from the hood, there's no opportunities there. There's no jobs there. You dropped a bunch of undocumented immigrants there, gave them resources. You know what I mean? They can't get hired, and you saying they don't want to work. No, you don't want to hire them. So these same people that say you don't want to work, and then they'll say, "Hey, look, I'm ready to work, man. Can I get a job?" No, I don't want to hire you because that money is someone that's a payroll that I can be given to someone that looks like me. And then if it's not someone that looks like me, I can be giving it to someone that I'm more willing to tolerate, right? So these other groups, they're going to hire their own. And then if they don't hire their own, they'll hire someone of a different immigrant background or of a white background. And then if they do hire some quote unquote richly melanated person, it's going to be an immigrant because they have more connection with them being an immigrant. So other people look like, damn, man, I can't get hired, right? Maybe this person is not the smartest, right? Or, you know, some of these people have degrees. There's a bunch of people that have degrees and can't get hired. And then you know, it wouldn't be an excuse, but you can understand why these people were turned into what's called the informal economy. But with these kids, there's no excuse for them to do that, right? They were growing up with their family, growing up with their father around. They had their whole life ahead of them. And rather than focus on, you know, because all they say is you just got to work smarter, go to school, get a good job, and, you know, you'll be successful. They went to school. They were on track to get a good job, but they said, nah, the money is a bit sweeter if you're selling that booger sugar. So here you are, you know, these Lily Dub people selling. They were like Tony Montana of Penn State. But again, whose culture is this? When they said that cocaine is what? A rich whose drug? They didn't say cocaine was a poor black man's drug. They didn't say it was a rich black man's drug. They did say it was a rich white man's drug. So again, whose culture is this? Now, let's go a little bit more, right? Now, Agostino S. Abatiello of Westbury, New York, a former student and Sigma Chi member. He was described as top of the chain. He was the big dog. He is what we would call the plug. Now, he was the largest distributor of cocaine at Penn State. He allegedly obtained bulk cocaine via contacts, including those cultivated by others, from New York, Pennsylvania sources. He coordinated deliveries and supplied others. This sounds like a RICO to me. He faces multiple felony charges, reports cite around 11. Those include manufacturing, delivery, possession with intent, conspiracy, dealing in proceeds of unlawful activities, criminal use of a communication facility, and related offenses. Some accounts also mention corrupt organizations. He initially failed to appear for arraignment, but later turned himself in. He has been held without bail in some reports. Thomas M. Robinson, Pittsburgh. He's a former student of Delta Upsilon member, alleged local distribution leader. So basically, you know, this Abatiello dude, he was like the plug. And then the underboss was this Thomas dude. And he was over there buying escalating quantities. So he's essentially, when they say escalating, he like, hey, bruh, look, escalating means if I was buying a pound, I'm like, hey, bro, a pound ain't enough, bro. I need two. Hey, bro, I ran through those two, bro. I need about four of them things. You feel me? So again, this sounds like a RICO to me. But No one is talking about RICO. It's just, hey, you can't blame them. You can't talk about the community. You can't generalize the community. But if this was 14 brothers that had got charged, we would be inundated with what about black on black crime, fatherless homes, and culture, and all this other stuff. No one is talking about culture. No one is talking about who raised them. One of these dudes was raised and his daddy was helping him, and they're still not saying who raised him. Meanwhile, with Carmelo Anthony, who raised him? Well, Carmelo Anthony was raised by upstanding family. His family took him, which could have been a mistake. His family took him to an affluent neighborhood of Texas, an anti-black neighborhood, but affluent nonetheless, right? So he was being raised the proper way. And, he went down a dark path based on a foolish mistake. However, it was self-defense. But with these people, what is their excuse? All of these people, there's no reports of them being impoverished. You look at these names, Mohammed Hurabi, this person wasn't living on Section 8. Agostino S. Abatiello, right? Westbury, New York. We know this person wasn't living in a shanty town. Again, Thomas M. Robinson was buying escalating quantities. He started at an ounce, right? And then he like, bruh, I need the whole enchilada. He started from the bottom. Now we here. He started with O's and now he's buying K's. Hey, I need me an onion. He went from buying onions. He went from buying pillows to now he's buying kangaroos. He's buying kilos, keys. Now, purchases costing 22. Sheesh. Like, remember, Banks was saying, come out to Tennessee. You can get it for 10 a key. Meanwhile, they're saying bro paid 22. Now, some was saying like, bro, y'all really ain't slanging it for, you feel me, for 10 a kangaroo. You know what I mean? And if you is, hey, I'll come buy 4 of them things right now. Allegedly, hypothetically, right? But Thomas M., he was paying 22 for the kangaroo. Now, at least 2 occasions, the total purchases ranged between 1.5 keys, and this was happening in 2024. Now, controlled buys by confidential informants, meaning they found a snitch and said, hey, look, we gonna give you some money, or they either gave them the money to buy from Thomas, or they said, hey, look, we the plug. You feel me? Oh, you paying 22, bro? We can sell it to you for like 16, bro. You know what I mean? And then you're like 16. Oh, I mean, I can do that. And then once you buy it, then it's entrapment. And then they say, no, it really wasn't entrapment because you was already slanging and no one forced you to buy this, right? Now, controlled buys by confidential informants totaled 73.8 grams. And I mean, that's enough to put you away a long time. But mind you, I mean, with Joe Biden, somebody could have this amount 70.38 grams. And then if you got like a fingernail full of crack, with Biden's law, you would get more time. Like, let's say you seen a little crumb, a crack. You like, oh, snap, a crumb of crack. And then you pick it up and then bloop, bloop, the cops pull you over for that crumb of crack. Based on Biden's law, you would allegedly get more time than someone that had approximately 74 grams of coke. Now, they searched Thomas' residence. They found coke, marijuana, pills, and other items. He faces numerous felony charges. Some report 21, including drug trafficking. Sounds like a RICO conspiracy. RICO. Proceeds and communication facility accounts. All sound like they can be a RICO. Now, he reportedly cooperated after the arrest. Cooperated how much? Now, they got the other figures that are facing felony charges. Mohammed Hurabi, also referred to as Hurabi. Delta Upaslan, from New Jersey area, partnered in sales, used Snapchat for arrangements, quantity cited in the 100 to 250 gram range before scaling back. Lars R. Ziepvat. These names, I'm just saying, peep the names, peep the names. You know, if the name was, Tyrone Jenkins, if the name was Jamal Smith, if the name was LaQuavius Johnson, but instead the name is Mohammed Harabi, Lars Ziepvat, Robert Zanola. I'm just saying, are you noticing a pattern? Whose culture is this? Now, Lars Ziepvat of Mendham, New Jersey, he was linked sourcing contacts and described Abatiello as the largest distributor. So basically, he was the one who probably ratted on everybody and just started naming names. He had the ET finger. Robert Zanola of Manhasset, New York, allegedly helped transport coordination. Excuse me. So this dude was the driver. He was over there dropping off the packs. Now, these individuals face charges such as corrupt organizations, conspiracy, dealing in proceeds of unlawful activity, and related drug offenses. Misdemeanor charges, primarily possession and drug paraphernalia, were filed against 8 others: Liam Smith, Michael Brogno, Caden Howe, Connor Hurley, Seth Beardsley, Kyle Redpath, Daniel Price, and Charles Wiseman, or Charlie Wiseman in some reports. I mean, do you hear these names? Liam Smith, Michael Brogno, Caden Howe, Connor Hurley, Seth Beardsley, Kyle Redpath. Come on, man. We're not hearing Watermelon Isha. We're not hearing Shaquavius. We're not hearing Keisha. We're not hearing Tyrone, Ray. Where are those names? Pookie? Pull your pants up, Pookie. You're so focused on telling Pookie to pull his pants up. Pookie is running around sagging and being an idiot. But not all of us are Pookies. Meanwhile, you got Seth Beardsley, Connor Hurley getting high and zonked out of their mind. Paul Robinson, 59, Thomas' father, the only non-student, faces felony hindering prosecution and misdemeanor tampering obstruction charges for allegedly helping conceal or destroy evidence, including a safe, after the 2024 search. So when I said who raised them, this is who raised them. Someone that was helping them do all this stuff. But will this be a psychoanalysis of their upbringing and their father? Now, Penn State claims to be horrified and all this stuff. Of course, oh my God, we're horrified. We don't condone this. We get it. But why does all of this disgusting stuff keep happening at Penn State? Do y'all remember some of the other things? Do y'all remember Jerry Sandusky? Now, Penn State has faced repeated high-profile controversies, particularly around athletics, Greek life, and institutional culture. These do not form a single continuous cover-up, but a pattern that shows recurring issues with reporting, accountability, and risk management. Now, Jerry Sandusky, remember, this is all at Penn State. Jerry Sandusky was exposed in 2011. He was a former defensive coordinator. He was convicted in 2012 on 45 of 48 counts of actually abusing boys. He was fondling boys' booty holes. He was molesting kids, jerking kids off, having kids strip in front of him. He was a disgusting individual. And this was at Penn State. And they like, oopsie, we didn't know. B-Eazy is sorry. It's like, bruh, how does just stuff just keep happening at this university, right? Now, the free report commissioned by the university conducted, and this is where it gets, It's like the university is like, hey, we'll do an internal audit and we'll conduct a report. No, it should have been an external person, so we could have ripped all of these pathetic, corrupt miscreants out from the rooter to the tutor, right? Anyways, the free report commissioned by the university, it concluded that the top leaders, including the president, Graham Spanier, athletic director Tim Curley, and vice president Gary Schultz, and coach Joe Paterno, failed to adequately protect children or fully report allegations because they love Joe Paterno and all this stuff. But everybody was involved. This is a RICO in itself, right? All of the people knew that Jerry Sandusky was fondling little boys' booty holes, and they were like, up, nothing to see here. He's a damn good coach. Yeah, he's a good coach who likes touching on young men, jerking them off, having them strip in front of them, doing all sorts of sick, twisted stuff, using his power. But, no one cares because they're like, well, those dudes are buff and they can bench press 300 pounds. So maybe they kind of liked it and stuff. Well, I mean, if we're going to say that, then we can say Paterno and the presidents and the athletic director, maybe they liked what was going on. Maybe they liked that these athletes could be fondled and buck broken at any moment, and they can say, we can take your scholarship, right? Just saying. So in order to avoid bad publicity in the football program is why they did this, right? Spanier, Curley, and Schultz, they faced criminal convictions related to failure to report endangerment, right? So it's almost like someone is molesting kids. You're not molesting kids. You would never do that. But this person is doing it, and you may have even seen instances where you've seen the proof of them doing it. And then you don't report it, and you're like, well, I never touched any kids. Yeah, you never touched kids, but this person, this sick, twisted individual was doing that, and you're not doing anything. Silence is complicity, right? They say guilty by association. You're associated with a sick, twisted pedo and an abuser who likes to fondle young men. And you're like, hey, well, I never touched them. Yeah, you kind of did, bro, by not doing anything. You're an accomplice. You're trying to pretend like you're not, but you are. And this goes for Paterno, Curley, Spanier, all of these pathetic dweebs and pricks that were at Penn State. Paterno was fired. The university paid over $100 million to the victims. The NCAA imposed heavy sanctions, fines, scholarship reductions, vacated wins, bowl bans, some that were later adjusted. That's just only one of the scandals at Penn State, right? And let's commence with the scandals, right? Why does this keep happening at this school? Timothy Piazza, 2017. That wasn't that long ago. A 19-year-old Beta Theta Pi pledge. He was unalived after extreme alcohol. They forced him to haze on the night. Drink, shot, shots. It's like, bruh, he's already had enough shots. No. If you don't drink these shots, you're not going to be a part of the fraternity. This is the quote unquote hazing. The whole hazing thing is akin to getting jumped into a gang to prove that the gang loves you. We gonna beat you up, or to prove that you tough enough. Nah, bro. Like, okay, if we're tough enough, then how about we just shoot a 1-on-1, right? Because how is that proving how tough I am to have y'all jump me? Because 1-on-1, I would whoop all y'all. But then if it's 5-on-1, then somehow that's supposed to make me tougher. Not only that, like, what happens if someone gets a tooth knocked out in a rib broke? Man, that's the price of joining the gang. It's like, I'm cool, bro. Like that's not no gang I want to be a part of, right? There's other ways to show that someone is loyal. And I'm not against gangs. I'm against foolish street gangs that do nothing to serve the community, right? A gang is just a euphemism for a tribe, a conglomerate, and all the stuff. The biggest gang is, the biggest, baddest gang is the boys in blue, the law enforcement, because they had, they can procure other people to form Voltron with their gang, the National Guard and, the U.S. military, if it gets that severe, right? But I'm all for a gang in a sense of people that share common interests to protect their community, protect their country, not to engage, solely in nefarious activity, but to engage in enriching activities, right? Kind of like in the movie The Warriors, right? It was a bunch of gangs, but those gangs were about being rivals to each other, but it wasn't about unaliving each other. And when someone allegedly did unalive a person, the collective of gangs came together to say, no, we got to denounce this person because, yeah, we're gangs and we're distinct and different, but we're not about the unaliving. So I support gangs as a protection agency, as a enrichment and a progressive apparatus, but not as a destructive and a regressive force, right? But yeah, with these hazing things, what I mean, these fraternities, all they are gangs, right? A bunch of racism, a bunch of elitism and stuff. They stick together, they discriminate on other fraternities based on their fraternal allegiance. How is that not a gang, right? How is that? Well, the Crips discriminating against the Bloods because of the color of their rags. But meanwhile, a fraternity is discriminating against another fraternity based on some arbitrary competition, based on, hey, we have better frat parties and stuff. Like, why are you guys competing, right? You're all college students, right? But they're like, no, we're not created equal because I'm in this fraternity, right? And they try to derive some sort of superiority and rank based on their allegiance and affiliation to some fraternity. I mean, how is that no different than a gang member, right? You're trying to hide behind the Crips and you're trying to hide behind, I'm a Beta Theta Pi. It's like you repping your set, but it's like, dude, you're just a human being. Kappa Delta Rho in 2015 suspended after a private Facebook group shared non-consensual partially nude images of women, some appearing unconscious. Again, what demographic this person was, or the predominant makeup of this group, but nobody wants to talk about culture. So again, they have these frat parties where they get these chicks drunk, and sometimes they get them to drink voluntarily, and then sometimes they sip pop a little something and they drink. Then they have their way with them, and then they say, hey, look, you consented to it. And these women, allegedly, in many cases, they can't remember, they feel embarrassed that they let themselves get be that vulnerable. So then they just be like, this is just what happens when you're in college, right? And on top of that, there's pressure to not make a big stink because it may be a bad PR nightmare for some of these institutions and the fraternities. So it's kind of like turn the other cheek type of thing. So you have to accept the abuse in name of preserving the reputation of these institutions in these fraternities. Again, some of these fraternities are gang like, many of them are cult like. And what's worse, a cult or a gang, right? There's a bunch of gangs that are just like symbolic studio gangsters, right? Like they dress the part, look the part, but they're not doing anything. But meanwhile, a lot of these frats, they're doing a lot more than just partying and hazing. Now, there have been other unalivings and serious harm linked to alcohol hazing. Joseph Dotto, 2009, near a frat house. Marquise Braham, he did a self-deletion at Altoona campus, and people were saying that he was hazed, and they do a lot of things to humiliate you and embarrass you. And sometimes people's like, man, I can't even live with myself after what I've done. Now, there's been multiple recent suspensions for hazing, forced alcohol, drugs, physical abuse, or servitude. So they'll sometimes say, hey, look, if you want to be a part of this, you have to go streaking. So you got to run nude around the campus, and then they'll say joining this fraternity You'll go on to be a reporter on CNN. You'll go on to be this, but only with this fraternity, because this fraternity has sources and connections. And essentially, it's a form of buck breaking, right? They need to know that you're going to play ball. Some of these paddles, right? Some people are pulling down their pants and getting spanked by grown adults with a paddle, and you have to take this abuse to prove your loyalty. I mean, is this a fraternity, a gang, or a cult? Or a combination of all of them. So, and we can go on and on with Penn State. The gymnastic coaches, Jeff and Rachel Thompson, they faced accusations of abuse, behavior, and body shaming. They were forcing injured athletes to train. They both left the program. So there will be people that was injured and they're like, suck it up, buttercup. You know what I mean? And they were just like, nah, you ain't injured. They didn't care. All they cared about was results and performing for them. There was a basketball coach, Patrick Chambers. He resigned amid allegations of inappropriate conduct. What inappropriate conduct? There were football-related claims, alleged hazing under James Franklin, a team doctor's lawsuit alleging that pressure to clear injured players. So players would be injured and they're like, hey, look, man, we got a big game against Ohio State. We got a big game against Michigan. We need you to clear this player, even though that player probably wasn't in their best interest to be out on the field. They didn't care because it's about money. You lose a big game, you may lose your job, because all they care about is the victory. They look and say, hey, we don't care that your best player was injured. We care that you lost to Michigan. So therefore you're fired, right? So there's a lot of that stuff too with the grades as well. If a stud athlete wasn't performing, we'll give them a good grade. If a stud athlete had a concussion, well, nothing the Tylenol can't fix, don't call it a concussion, right? And then there were even things where earlier athletics culture critiques tied back to Sandusky era and the prioritization of the football program. When it comes to the racism and the racial controversies, the NAACP criticized their earlier eras and hate mail. There was also 2023, there was a white professor alleging a hostile environment from DEI initiatives. They're saying the pressure around race-based grading considerations and racial essentialism training post George Floyd. Now, I don't know the proof of where they were saying, hey, we're grading people based on race and all this stuff. They blame everything on George Floyd and BLM. They blame all this stuff on DEI, but they never talk about who implemented this stuff, right? So they use black people as the face of DEI, George Floyd, BLM. But then you look at all these programs when it's Target or all these major corporations that cancel their program. So these corporations, they had the power to create a DEI program and they had the power to eliminate it. So again, why are you whining to us? It's the dominant society that created the DEI programs, and it's the dominant society who ended them. And they're blaming the people who they call the powerless. Hey, y'all don't got any power, so why are you blaming us for DEI? Yeah, because they did it because of George Floyd. Like, no, they didn't. Because if they did it because of George Floyd, then DEI would have disproportionately helped black people, but it didn't, right? Of all the benefits, jobs, goodies, guarantees, and giveaways, only 4% went to black people. And not all of those black people were even foundational black Americans. It was a bunch of melanated immigrants who occasionally say that they're African American, right? There's no clear, concise evidence that says it disproportionately went to black Americans, specifically foundational black Americans, but it is overwhelming evidence to show that it mainly went to white women. And after that, it went to all other people that are still under the banner of white. White women benefited from DEI. White gays benefited from DEI. White trans people benefited from DEI. White disabled people benefited from DEI because it's all inclusive. It says nothing about race, diversity, equity, and inclusion for everybody. All lives matter. All plights matter. That's what DEI is. So you say, hey, look, we have to help the white women because they're victims. Then we have to help the white gays because they're victims. Then we have to help the white trans. And then, we can't help the blacks. We have to help people of color. And that just means anyone that's non-white, even so-called POCs that are classified as white. Yeah, we have to help them. Then, oh yeah, we can't forget the natives. We stole their land. But like, when's the last time you seen a real native? Like, you seen a bunch of people that look like Macaulay Culkin and Justin Bieber, and those are supposed to be the quote unquote indigenous now. Then after we help all of them, you're like, hey, you still haven't helped the blacks. Oh, we have to help undocumented immigrants because this is a nation of immigrants built by immigrants, right? It's like, huh? Those people aren't even citizens. Yeah, but we have to help them because Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. And after they've helped everybody, then they give you some crumbs that they didn't even hand you. A crumb fell off the table and they're like, oops, we weren't going to give you nothing. But since that crumb fell off the table, y'all can have that crumb. And then now they want to pretend as if we were the ones who had this massive entree, the Last Supper, this grandiose feast. It's the same thing with affirmative action. And these are the high IQs, right? We could expect, they call the quote unquote black people low IQ and all this other stuff. All right, fine. The low IQs don't know this, but you're a high IQ. So how don't you know this, right? Affirmative action, right? The white women became victims and they were the sole, the primary beneficiaries of affirmative action. But who do they blame? When they get some whites and Asians together and they blame, oh, I couldn't get into Harvard. Well, it wasn't a black person that denied you. If you couldn't get into Harvard, it's because they didn't want you. You know what I mean? And then they start saying, yeah, but the blacks got in. Look at how many black people it is in Harvard and look how many Asians it is. And they're still saying, well, it's too many blacks. Notice that Asians never say it's too many whites. They only say it's too many blacks, right? But the thing is the whites that don't really want too many Asians in Harvard. And rather than blame the whites because they're, they want to be the model minority and pull down their pants and spread cheeks, it's the blacks and George Floyd and BLM. It's like, bruh, how pathetic could you guys be? But it is a shame. And I'm going to get ready to pivot to the next story. And this will be my last story. But depending on how I'm feeling and how this is received, I may come back and hit y'all with a double header. But I do appreciate y'all watching this. You know what I mean? Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you. They were trying to say Carmelo had Metcalf's life and Metcalf has Carmelo's life. Well, Metcalf, that dude was a thuggish bully. He was a bigot as well. Now, he didn't deserve to be unalived, but that was an accident that was caused by Carmelo defending himself. He feared for his safety and bodily harm. These fraternities don't help us. No, I don't get why cats be crashing out for these fraternities. You better not disrespect my fraternity. It's like someone disrespected your entire lineage, your entire community, your entire family, and you didn't say anything. But then someone disrespects your fraternity, and then you're like, you better not say that. Like, why not? But I'm going to pull up this other video, and I'm going to discuss the disgusting behavior of Target. I haven't been in Target and I don't know how long, but is Target targeting the black community because they were mad about the boycotts? Let's get into it. But before we get into it, it won't cost you a fee. The likes are free. And tell a friend to tell a friend, engage with the chat, share me out. You know what I mean? But I'm going to give y'all a quick visual intermission so I can pull the video up. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Don't leave your girl around, be easy. If she bad, he might bang her. But let's get back to the content because this another banger. Tune right in to B-Eazy Dat Dude. If you're feeling him, hit the like then. Be easy, be easy. Ooh, he is that dude.
All right, and we are back at it. And Frank says that's why these politicians come from these fraternities and masonry. Yeah, because they've already been vetted, right? Many of them have already been hazed. They went through the buck breaking process, and a lot of that stuff was documented as well, right? So if they was humiliated and buck broken, and there's footage to document that, then they're like, hey, look, we'll help you get to the upper echelons of society. But hey, don't forget, we got the footage. Look at Myron Lames, the dude from Fresh and Fit, the Sudanese tether. His name is Amaru Fuddle, right? But he changed his name to Myron Gaines. What sounds like a more foundational Black American name? Myron Gaines or Amaru Fudil or Fuddle, whatever his name is, right? You know, F Boy Fuddle, right? So they have footage of him. They got footage of this dude being laid up, bro. Like, shout out to my homies in the chat. I got Big Rig, my boy John, my bro Spid, Braxton, Travion, you feel me? My boy S. Venom, you know what I mean? Just to name a few cats, right? These are my fams, right? I got a lot of love and respect for them, right? You ain't gonna never, ever find me of a photo of me laying in a bed with these niggas kissing on them. Hey, you don't gotta say pause or none of this. It just ain't gonna happen. Hey, salute to Big Rig. He's a good dude. Salute to John. Love him. That's my bro. You're not gonna find any footage of me laying up with John kissing on this nigga talking about boys will be boys. There's footage of that you can find of Myron Lames, Amru Fudil. He's up there laid up with a white dude kissing on him. Talking about, man, we were in college, bro. We were frats. Boys will be boys. Like, huh? Boys will be boys. Like, bro, where did they do that at? Bro, what? Bro, what planet are we on, bro? Where niggas like lay up with dudes and kiss on them and say, no, bro, that wasn't gay. It's just boys will be boys. And it's like, bro, if you're part of that community, there's nothing wrong with it, bro. Salute to you, bro. I'm not judging you for that. I'm judging dude for like pretending he's not of that community, but always wagging his finger trying to say how alpha he is. It's like, bruh, what alpha do you know that lays in the bed? Like he has, bruh, I think he was sitting on a dude's lap. Like what, bruh? And the dude, it wasn't Santa, bruh. You can't even find no picture. Bro, there's no pictures of me sitting on Santa's lap, bro. I'm just saying, bro. I wouldn't even sit on Santa's lap. Some jolly fat white dude who's acting like he giving presents. Nah, man, I grew up in the hood, so my mom had to scrape and scrounge for money. So she was like, I ain't giving no jolly fat white dude credit for this, right? But meanwhile, there's footage in flicks of Myron Gaines sitting on his white zaddy's lap. Being dude got him in a headlock kissing him. The dude is in the bed with a white dude in his tighty whities allegedly, and he's like, boys will be boys, bro. It's like, huh? What boys, bro? And you weren't a boy, mind you. The dude was a grown man saying that. He's a grown man laying in the bed with his shirt off, getting kissed on by some suspected dude named Bradley, and he's on some boys will be boys stuff. If that's how y'all get down in the frats, I'm good. I'm good. Hey, don't leave your girl around me. I'm just saying, I gave you fair warning. So you feel me? If she come back doing the stanky leg and the back is blown out, you know who house she came from. I'm just saying. And you said R.I.P. to OG Miss Dolly Parton, and you said that's out. And I've been in loving memory of Aaliyah and her crew. It's been 25 years. R.I.P. to Aaliyah. She was one of the coldest and the greatest to ever do it, bro. It sounds crazy, and this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I mean, I just don't get it, bro. A lot of these cats is cakes, bro. Like Lil Debbie, honey buns, bro, because these cats is over here looking up to him because he's talking crap about black people and always screaming and shouting on chicks. But I'm like, bro, is this your king? Is this your king? The dude that's over there kissing on white dudes and yelling at women? Mind you, think about this. When Myron is around white dudes, he's always humble, right? He talks to them in the sweetest, meekest voice. Really think about this, right? Myron Gaines, fresh and fit, right? You know, Flea and Fit, because both of those are tethers, right? he's always sweet, like he's damn near whispering sweet nothings into the white dude's ear, whether it's Tim Pool or Nick Fuentes and all this other stuff, right? He's always humble, he's always sweet and meek to them. Meanwhile, when it's towards a woman, he's always like foaming at the mouth, crust and drool in the corner, mad. I'm just like, bruh, he's always musty mad because he's a tether. It's rather pathetic, but many people be tuning in to him, sending them super chats. Is this your king? A musty alpha tether who has been caught on many instances rubbing, hugging on white dudes? Okay. Majority, not all, of dubs has an intriguingly odd view of funny or goofy things when it comes to humor. Well, that's gonna lead me into my other thing. Yeah, they do a lot of weird stuff. Like they be doing like, like dick taps and titty twisters. Like they'll come and like, grab your nipples and twist them, or they'll see like a dude, with his bulge and nut tap. It's like, bro, what? Like I don't get it, bro. They be like pantsing dudes. I seen one thing where they like, and I've seen some other cast that it wasn't just white dudes, but I've seen like they'll come behind a dude and like try to hump their bro, but it's like it's funny, right? It's for like, spits and giggles. I'm like, bro, don't try to hump me for fun, bro, because it ain't gonna end well for you, bro. But that's what these cats do, and they think it's funny, bro. Even the names, they be calling people, female dogs. They be calling them, the P word for vagina. It's, kind of clown stuff. The Jake Lang, the Steven Crowders, the Matt Walsh, all of those dudes are dorks, dweebs, nimwits, nincompoops, and nimrods. Yeah, even Jackass. Yeah, Jackass. I wasn't a big fan of Jackass. Just a bunch of deranged lily dub lunatics running around doing stuff to themselves. Is like, you gotta be a little bit of masochistic to see that, but salute to them, right? They were highly successful doing Jackass. But again, now that you bring up Jackass, who raised those jackasses? Were they raised in fatherless homes? Did they have a silver spoon in their mouth? Those jackasses, yeah, the popular ones that were doing idiotic, low IQ, degenerate behaving things. Who raised them? Now, I'm gonna get into this video from the Honorable Tariq Nasheed, and we're gonna talk about how Target had to apologize. Now, Target thought they were slick, and that's why I said targeted by Target, because I believe that the foundational population was targeted by Target to say, hey, look, we're going to do this thinly veiled underhand anti-black gesture, and then they gonna say, oops, hey, we had no idea. Right now, notice there's never any mistakes, right? They never ever mistakenly, and I'm going to talk about this disgusting menstrual Jim Crow costume that they were selling, right? They never make a mistake about Jewish people, right? They never make a mistake where, hey, this could be mistaken as an anti-Semitic costume. This can be mistaken as an anti-Asian costume. They create a clearly anti-black costume, and then they say, hey, we had no idea, right? So let me just go ahead and try to pull this up first. Hold on. I think I have the image. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I have the image of it first. Okay. I mean, do y'all notice a pattern, right? Now it says kids glow under black light circus, clown, Halloween costume, bodysuit, hide and eek. So again, this is supposed to be a clown suit. And what did a lot of the minstrel shows do? They were always clowning us with the big exaggerated lips and all this stuff. Now, why would Target sell this, right? Oopsie, we had no idea, right? Okay. All right, well let's get into it and see what Tariq got to say about it. Yeah, Frank, come on, bro. Like they're like, oopsie, my bad, we had no idea. Like, really? And you said, fun fact about Steve O's, he's not American, he's British. Well, I don't care if he's American or not, because he came over here to America and they were like, come on, you're team Dubb, so we'll push the degeneracy. So let's see what the Honorable Tariq Nasheed has to say about this, and then we will react. Now, remember, this is about the disgusting costume that Target sold, and then they had to pull.
Yeah, the New York one is going to be super duper popping. The one out here is going to be. Y'all see what Target then got themselves in the hot water again, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all see what Target pulled. Oh, did y'all see what the Target store pulled?
And Frank says, I don't go to Target anyway. Me either. I'm team Walmart, and I haven't even been to Walmart in a minute. So I know a lot of people hate Jeff Bezos, and I'm no fan of Jeff Bezos and Amazon, but it's like sometimes it's better to just shop at Amazon. At least there's a bunch of black people that work at Amazon, right? There's a bunch of black drivers, a bunch of black people in the warehouse. Now you can say some of them are being mistreated, and welcome to America and being black in America. But at least with Amazon, I think, and I'm not saying like, there's other places besides these places, but I'm just saying if I had to compare, I would rather shop at Amazon than Target. Damn, Frank ain't been in Walmart in a minute either. Yeah, I'm team Walmart over Target, even though I haven't been, but out of convenience, and I don't even always shop at Amazon. I only shop at Amazon when I need things. So it's like, okay, I need this in 2 days, plus if I'm paying for Prime and all this stuff, I'm gonna get my money's worth. But they have like Whole Foods and other things like that as well. But yeah, Target is doing all of these things to show that they definitely don't care about black people, which is why they love to use vague terms like POC, DEI, because it includes everyone. So when they help everyone but black people, they say, hey, we never said black, we said diversity. Hey, we said equity. Hey, we said inclusion, right? So yeah, that includes black, but they're including blacks to put them at the back of the line. Hey, we've included you, but you're in back of trans people, you're in back of gays, you're in back of whites, you're in back of Asians, you're in back of undocumented immigrant. That's all it is. Hey, but look how diverse we are, right? So Target and Target is just a microcosm of what all these corporations, they're all, the higher you get, the more anti-black it gets. However, all they care about is the public backlash. Not about how black people respond, just how they're socially perceived. That's all it is. It's like they're not going to change their practices to like help black people or assist black people in any way. They're just going to try to clean up their image. They thought this one could slide under the radar because they try to do this plausible deniability where they do a slick, underhanded shot at you, but at the same time, it's enough deniability to say, hey, why are you being triggered? You know what I mean? We're not sneak dissing you.
Y'all know Halloween is coming up. It's Halloween season. So, people, the dominant society, they like to show their ass around Halloween. Yeah, Target. Yeah, some of y'all don't know Target. They've already been on the hot seat for a little racist stuff. They've already been on the hot seat. So for Halloween, they start promoting this costume. It's called Kids Glow Under Black Light Circus Clown Halloween costume. And it's under the Hide and Eek boutique brand. And the advertisement featured a black child modeling a bright orange outfit and a black top with black gloves and a mask with a wide, exaggerated minstrel show grin. It looked like a minstrel show, which is what it was supposed. It was a minstrel, basically. It was a minstrel character. They tried to make it seem like, oh, it's just a clown. It was a minstrel character. And they know that. And they were trying to be slick. And then they got called out. They got called out for it. They were trying to be slick and they got called out. Bass, Mr. Bass. I see But Mr. Based MD, you want to hop on, sir? Because you're saying stuff in the chat room, Mr. Based MD. You want to hop on and speak on what you're trying to say, sir? Image, like step and fetch it. So they were doing a minstrel character. They tried to sell it. Then they had to apologize because there was a lot of backlash on social media. People pointed out that the mask, the gloves, the child's pose, it evoked the racist blackface stereotypes and tropes from the Jim Crow era. That's exactly what they were trying to do. And some people are saying that this oversight is part of Target's decision to scale back its DEI initiatives. And Target earlier today, they issued an apology. They removed the costume from the shelves and the website. They issued a formal apology. In their statement, the company said, as a company, we know we got this wrong and we are deeply sorry. The costume is offensive and it never should have been a part of our assortment. It's no longer available for sale. We know this was especially hurtful for our Black guest team members and partners. And now they're saying they're investigating their approval process to understand how the costume was greenlit and what needs to change to prevent that from happening again. All right. So they're doing all of that. Oh, we didn't know how did it get through? How did it get through? How did we miss this? Listen, something that racially loaded, how did that go through so many hands? You just don't get your shit up in a Target store. You go through a lot of different hands to get your stuff in Target. You understand? You go through a whole process. You go through a whole pipeline of different people. You go through a lot to get your stuff up in Target. Now, Target itself, they admitted that the costume was offensive. They know that. It should have never been a part of our assortment. Okay. But this wasn't something that a random person posted on like an Etsy site or an Amazon or whatever, or eBay. This is Target. So somebody.
Yeah, so this is Target we're talking about. And let's just go a little bit further with that, right? Because they're trying to pretend, oh, it was just a harmless thing. Was it that? Is it easy to get your products in Target? Does anyone believe that it's very extremely easy to get your product in Target? No. Getting your products into Target is not easy. It's a competitive, highly vetted process with strict requirements. So remember, hold on. Remember, it's a highly vetted process with strict requirements in only a small, not large. Y'all know what the definition of large is, so you know what the definition of small is. A small fraction of submissions are accepted. Why is it so difficult to get your products into Target? Target has a rigorous supplier vetting process that goes beyond Amazon or other marketplaces. So they're saying, hey, look, Amazon, you can get your stuff in and on there easy, but not with us, not with Target. We have a competitive and highly vetted process. Okay, so how did this minstrel Jim Crow costume get in there? And then they're saying, oh my God, it's so bad, it's offensive. So if you knew it was offensive, shouldn't the people who vetted it, the people who you say have strict requirements, and only a small fraction, think about it, only a small fraction of submissions are accepted, but somehow the black Jim Crow minstrel costume is accepted? Remember, they're rejecting people left and right. Nope, 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 nope. Then they seen the Jim Crow one and said, yep. They said, yes, queen. Now, I'm just saying, bro. Would you want who would dress their kid up like this? First of all, when you were a kid, would you have dressed up in this costume? That's the first question. Number two, would you dress your kid up in this costume? And what would you tell this is your kid? If you dress your kid up like this, you're supposed to say, hey, little Johnny, hey, little Jamal, hey, little Jaquavius, what's your costume? uh I'm a clown at a circus. Huh? No, your mama is a clown or your daddy is a clown if they would ever dress their kid up in this. Again, it's not easy to get your products in the Target, but somehow this minstrel costume passed the rigorous vetting process. Okay. Let's get back into the video, though. Give me uno momento. Hold up. I'm going to pull that video back up. And salute to everybody that's viewing this live concurrently and on the replay. Let's get back into it. But also, let me tap in with my bro, Big Rig, and see what he talking about. So Big Rig says, it's not easy. Even Big Rig already know, bro. It's not easy, bro. It's extremely hard to get your stuff in there, bro. It's hard to get your stuff in. Like if you look at the local bodega and you like, hey, bro, can I get some of my stuff in here? It's not even always easy to get your stuff in there. It's a very well-known store. It's not just a well-known store. It's like a Fortune 500 company. They knew what the frig they was doing. Stop playing with black people. And this is what I'm saying, bro. And this is why I feel you about, you get into a point of the crashing out, bro. It's like, bro, not only that, did you hear there? Okay, so the Asians, right? This is why I don't ever call me a person of color and don't even ever use that term around me. Seriously, that's like an offensive term. I'd rather be called a Negro, and I'm a foundational Black American freedman. So don't ever call me a person of color, right? But you'll see footage of these Asian countries where they using a stress doll, but the doll is a black person with big lips, and they beating the doll up because they want to get relieve some stress. Meanwhile, the people who dropped an atomic bomb on them aren't black people. They have no stress doll for those people. Instead, they want to assimilate with those people and reproduce with them so they can have a lighter offspring, right? When you look at LSU, and this just happened, right? I may pull this up before I get up out of here, but LSU, there's been students where they're dragging a black baby doll around, right? All of their problems are from people that look like them. Remember, they said we're too stupid. We don't organize. Y'all low IQ sub-Saharans. Y'all grew up in fatherless homes. Okay, cool. We grew up in fatherless homes. We're degenerate. We're all in the street twerking, eating fried chicken and watermelon. So you can't blame us for the gas prices. Remember, we're too stupid to run anything, right? You can't blame us for all of these wars in the Middle East and Ukraine and stuff. Can't blame us on that. Look at the military. Most military is white. Most firemen white. Most cops white. Most pilots white. Most Marine white. Most Navy white. Most Air Force white, right? Most defense contractors white. Most of Congress white. So again, most CEOs white. Who holds the most wealth in this country? White. And they'll say y'all have no wealth. Okay, so you can't blame us because remember, we have no wealth. Y'all got no power. You can't blame us. We're powerless, remember? So you have to blame the powerful, and the powerful look like you. What about George Floyd and BLM? It's like, is that the reason you can't afford a house? You can't afford a house, and your mom or your kids can't afford a house. Is that because of BLM? Gas is over $5 right now. Is that because of George Floyd? Right? The interest rates through the roof. Is that because of Trayvon Martin? I'm just saying, right? People love to blame. What about rap music? Okay, there's no rap music playing. Go listen to Garth Brooks. Go listen to Taylor Swift. And guess what? You still can't afford a home. So whose fault is that? It would be people in your community. Let's get back into it.
Somebody developed the concept. Somebody approved the design. Somebody approved the mask. Somebody pitched it to Target. Somebody had to pitch this shit to you. You had to, a committee had to decide on this. Somebody decided to put a black child in it. Somebody styled that child. Somebody photographed that child. Somebody selected the photograph. Somebody approved the damn website listing. Somebody put the product into the Halloween inventory at Target. So when you look at all these checkpoints, did everybody just happen to be historically ignorant at the same time? Yeah. Or was everybody on this little code and they knew what that imagery represented and they thought it was just going to slide through? Come on now. That imagery don't come out of nowhere. These white supremacists, they've been manufacturing that visual image for almost 200 years.
Facts. So since they've been showing this imagery for so long, we already know that this wasn't by coincidence. And shout to the stream sniper coming in, shooting out the gate. Looks like the character from the movie Terrifier. Now that is an iconic character, an iconic costume and makeup ensemble, but I actually haven't seen that movie. You know, hey, feel free to throw some tomatoes at me, but is that movie even good? I know that it's like a cult classic, but y'all let me know. The Terrifier, is that a good movie? And this person, which, you know, Mulch Man, just because literally nobody was talking about this, so this is how I know that you're a troll. And don't trip, troll lives do matter, but if you're going to troll, you got to come with some level of coherence and sophistication. Nobody was talking about reparations, although I am a supporter of lineage based, status based, not racially based reparations. But I know that you're not coming in good faith, because you would come in and engage with the conversation that's being having with a name like Mulch Man. Not only that, you're too afraid to show your face. You won't even show an AI version of your face. So Mulch Man,
Joke. Who is this Rudy Poo?
Gotta hit you.
How please?
Nigga, please.
How
Nigga, what?
nigga? Nigga, please.
Nigga, please.
So again, Mulch Man, because I know that's probably the only comment you're gonna leave and then run up out of here. Oh, so now the trolls is coming out here. Got you. The J people, they seem to have qualified, right? It was Trump who gave them millions and millions because some of them couldn't take free Palestine. So they said, hey, the J people are victims, right? Because someone said free Palestine. Okay. Why would people who've never been slaves get money from people who never owned slaves? Well, it's not just about that, right? Why would some J people who are never in the Holocaust get money based on the Holocaust? You're not asking that question. So go to the J spaces and ask them. Kathy Hochul in New York just a couple years ago gave them millions and millions. But, you know, and you're a faceless troll, so you're not like really serious. You're not really trying to have a real discussion. So, you know, I'm just only bringing this up just because I know like a lot of these talking points, but at least you did attempt to put a profile pic. You said it's because the J occupied our government. Yeah, well, the J people are, the J's are dubs. 90, hold on. Is it 92? Yeah. 92% of American J people identify as racially white. There's no gun to their head forcing them to that. Jake Tapper, you know what race is Jake Tapper? What race is Bernie Sanders? What race is Dana Bash? WHITE, Lily Dubb. It doesn't make it right. Well, it didn't make it right that the slave owners were paid reparations. That didn't make it right. It didn't make it right that they had a Homestead Act where there was a bunch of poor peasants that were smelling like piss and sulfur. They were fleeing famine, filth, failure, and feudalism. And they said, come over here. And they gave them goodies, giveaways, and guarantees. That wasn't right. But guess what? They still own that land, and that land has appreciated. Shows it was a plan, a psyop to give the Creed people money. Trump and the White House runs plays. Yeah, like I said, Trump, he signed off millions and millions for J people because they said they were victims. And literally, what were they victims of? Someone saying free, free, free Palestine. Okay. So again, you're supposed to get over being called the N-word. It's just a word. But if someone says globalize the intifada, oh my God, you want to eradicate all of the J people, and then suddenly you have to pay them millions and millions. And this person said Malcolm X knew it. Malcolm X knew what? Malcolm X knew a lot of things, but you know, there were some things that he was misguided about, right? Because as human beings, we're infallible, right? There's things I have been wrong about and things that I'm often right about. And matter of fact, hey, I'm gonna have to just sit you in a timeout because you said I'm all over the place, but you came in here talking about something I wasn't even talking about, and you're not a serious page. Otherwise, you know, you can hit the link, but of course you won't hit the link because you're afraid to show your face. So don't worry, I'm gonna go ahead and put you on a timeout so you can go sit in the corner eating your mayo sandwich and trying to rub one out to the voice of Trump because you're a pathetic troll. But don't trip. And you said read my above comment. Well, the only above comment I see is that Malcolm X, you know, you said that Malcolm X. And shout out to Stream. You said if you like gore, like in them Saw. Okay, cool. I actually do like Saw, to keep it a buck. Oh, dang. Thanks, Stream Sniper. I'm gonna have to check it out. I never seen it. I actually did like the Saw movie. Yeah, I had to tell him had to tell bro, like, and you know, just in case, like I said, I don't mind the trolls, I don't mind the contrarian views, but come with some level of scholarship. I literally wasn't talking about reparations, although I do support lineage status, not race-based reparations. But it's like, come on, bro, like if you're gonna come and troll, like have some level of decorum as well. Otherwise,
do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
and just in case we're clear, hey, now I won't be here too much longer, but I do appreciate the chat is chatting, and I am discussing how targeted the black community, maybe because they feeling a little bit salty about all of the boycott and all this stuff. But just in case, for all of the new people coming in, I appreciate the viewership. Thank you. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you. However, I know when we do streams like this, we get a lot of toxic trolls and tethers. And just to be clear.
Okay, see, now you found yourself a nigga. You were looking for a nigga? Nigga here now, see?
Okay. Today's forecast, dark and cloudy, and chance of drive-by.
This shit just got rigged. Well, what you gonna do, bitch?
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do.
You ever heard of rolling 20s, nigga? Since I was 16, nigga. Okay. See, what he thought was he could come up in here and make the rules, but now he see that I run this bitch, and now he about to bounce.
Just in case there were any misconceptions or you were misconstrued about who's running things over here. That's all. That's all. Let's get back into it. And I appreciate y'all. And I'm about to shut it down pretty soon. But depending on how well received this is, I may come back and hit y'all with a double header.
They're not dumb. That blackface minstrel nonsense, that was the first white American form.
And like Big Rig says, keep it respectful or sit your derriere down somewhere. And we've been joined by Cloudness 457, the Brownsville bully. What it do, doggy? Did you know Abraham Lincoln wanted to deport all of the freed slaves after the Civil War? Just think of the utopia we could have had. Well, you know, Brad, your family immigrated here. So, you know, you can go back to the utopia that you fled from. Your family was fleeing filth, famine, failure, and feudalism. Why won't you go back home? And I appreciate the contribution. And hey, look, it won't cost you a fee. The likes are free. However, if you do feel generous and you want to put a little some
B-Eazy Dat Dude, he be bringing the vibe. In your leisure, come laugh and show some love every time he goes live. If you're feeling the flow, wanna help him shine, you can drop a little something something. It's support time. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo too. Super chat, super sticker, whatever is convenient for you. Every bit counts, let's keep the good times rolling. B-Eazy's on fire and the crowd's still growing.
Woo, B-Eazy. He is that dude.
again. So this person over here is saying, and I've been on 2 hours and I'm about to shut it down, but I may come back later. Again, this person is saying like, hey, it will be a utopia if the blacks just go live with the other blacks and you know, with the whites and all this stuff. But the thing is, that's not what you guys want, right? You can go to Europe, right? Like there's mostly white people in Europe. Why aren't you in Europe? You're too afraid to show your pathetic face. You're a male mutant and maniac who's just too pathetic, and you're not intellectually formidable enough to challenge me. So again, I'll let you write one more comment, but if it's just this kind of incoherent, dolcish drivel, then I'm gonna have to get you up out of here. And he said Europe is a sugar honey iced tea hole. Yeah, and who do you blame for that? People that look like you. You know, if Europe is a crap hole, who made it that way? I know you can try to blame it. It's the Muslim, it's the immigrants, it's the Africans. No, it's the Europeans. If Europe is a crap hole, it's because Europeans made it that so. If somebody came to your house and your house was a pigsty and you say, well, my house is messy because of the kids and because the neighbors came over and they didn't clean up after themselves. It's your house. Like, why didn't you make them clean? Why didn't you, hey, look, y'all not leaving until y'all clean. It's your house, right? Europe is apparently your motherland. Why aren't you there to clean up your disgusting crap hole of a motherland? Yeah, it went left, but they found the right one today, Big Rig. You said you didn't refute my statement. You just called me names. I'm sorry, but you see, well, there's no claim. You're a faceless troll. There's nothing to refute. Now, if you want to come up here and you will have to cam up, you know what I mean? At least in the back. If you come up here and cam up, then, you know, like I said, I prefer discussions, but if you want to debate, we can debate on whatever and you can get dismantled and destroyed. But like I said, you're a pathetic peon, a nitwit, a nincompoop, and a Nimrod. You're not intellectually formidable enough to challenge me. You're a coward, a faceless one at that. Brad Jay-Z, come on, bruh. Very pathetic.
That was their first form of entertainment out here in the 1930s. This dude, Thomas Rice, he popularized that Jim Crow character by doing exaggerated dances with exaggerated black features, grins, and costumes and all that stuff, portraying black people as stupid, childish, ridiculous, or naturally inferior. And even the Smithsonian, they noted that those characters eventually spread beyond the stage, and it went into...
I was trying to shut it down. Hey, Bradley. Big Rig said exactly what I was going to say. And I'm glad, Big Rig, I ain't from Africa. And see, hold on. Before I get into this, right? Bradley, the Bussy Bati boy. Gotta hit you.
You know what, nigga? You acting like a little bitch right now. You acting like a little bitch right now, nigga. Man, fuck that. I ain't letting that shit ride.
Hey, Brad, the biggest.
And I quote, you know your damn role and shut your damn
Shut up, bitch.
Y'all seen it on Boys in the Hood. My daddy said y'all from Africa. I ain't from Africa. I'm from Crenshaw Mafia. That's what he was saying. Bro, I'm a foundational Black American, bro. I ain't no from no Africa. Bro, I'm from Brownsville. That's what Cloudness says. I'm from the P. I'm from Pittsburgh, bro. I'm from California. And then my family is from Alabama, Tuscaloosa. We don't know anyone in Africa, bro. You're from Europe, bro. That's fine, bro. There's nothing wrong with being from Europe. You're an immigrant, bro. I'm not an immigrant, bro. I have no lineage towards immigrant. Your family didn't build anything in your homeland. Instead, you were fleeing failure, and then you ran here. Instead of building up your homeland, they said, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. See, we're in Hell's Kitchen with an apron and a hairnet. You like, ooh, it's too hot in here for me. I'm gonna run. It's like, that's how cowardly and pathetic you are. And not only that, I'm about to time you out because this is the only opportunity you have to stay in this chat, because I was about to shut it down, but like, bro, if you want the fade, then you will get faded, bro. The link is out there right there. And like I said, bro, you got a cam up in the back, bro. So I even know that you're a troll. And I'm going to let this ride out for like, let's just say 2 to 3 minutes, bro. If you ain't hit the link by then, because clearly you have enough time to try to say whatever weasel words you got to say in the chat. Well, come get up here and stand on it, right? Because you're trying to call me low IQ. Well, then come up here and debunk and dismantle this low IQ person. I've already said you're not intellectually formidable enough to challenge me. Then come prove me wrong, bro. You're whining in the chat, bro. We literally, no one was talking about reparations. And this is what I talk about. These people, they always talk about, y'all talk about slavery too much. And then all they do is talk about slavery, and they talk about Africa. I'm American. You notice how they always want to try to tie your lineage to Africa when they can't, debate or dispute the contributions that you made here as a foundational Black American. This person won't even show their own face. Clearly, you haven't built anything. You haven't even built a profile pic. Bro, there's AI, bro. You can use an AI version to kind of distort your face to protect your identity. You won't even do that. No, I'm not being emotional. I said to hit the link. You're being a coward. So again, like I said, bro, if you haven't hit the link by 3:32, permanent vacation. Look at this cowardly. Why would I bother? Why were you bothering commenting? You're whining in the chat like a moist hoe who had her first period, right? Why are you bothering? Why are you even here, bro? Get up out of here. If you're not going to bother to hit the link, then get up out of here. Don't trip, bro. Because if you haven't hit the link in a few minutes, it will be a permanent vacation. So you can just leave now and shut up or hit the link, bro, and man up. And we don't even know if you're a man, Brad. Are you a trans? Are you a femboy? Are you a cat boy? What are you, Brad? I'm not judging. I'm just trying to get some clarity. Clearly, you're not formidable. We know that. You're a peon. But let's play some more of the video. Again, hey, I've extended the time, bro. So if you ain't up here in like 2 minutes, then yeah, I'll bid you a good life.
To advertising, it went into toys, movies, television, and other parts of American culture.
Yeah, Big Rig. If you ain't seen them on the link by then, just get dude up out of here, bro. I'm just so sick of these cats. You saw them popping it crazy in the chat, and then I'm like, all right, cool. Like, come pop it up here. I'm low IQ, right? So you'll be able to debunk me. Matter of fact, you'll be able to shine. You'll be able to clip this, and hey, I debunked this low IQ person. But every time I drop the link, they disappear. Am I David Blaine? Is this Easy Copperfield? Because as soon as I drop the link, they start disappearing. I didn't know I had magician powers. I didn't know. Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. Bro's out of here already. Because this is the thing. Like I said, I don't mind trolling. I'll allow you to troll, but your trolling has to have some level of coherence. And then it gets to a point where you got to stand on what you're saying, and you got to say it with your full chest. And I say, here, come say it with your full chest, and I'll give you the floor to speak uninterrupted. Then Sully, when it gets there, well, why would I bother? Huh? You're up here whining to me like I'm not your daddy, bro. Like, why are you whining to me, bro? He's crying like a B-I-E-I-E-I itch. And then when it comes to hit the link, then suddenly he runs like a little scared, fragile hoe. I'm just saying, bro. But let's commence.
That's why, man, family, if you're ever in LA, come down to the Hidden History Museum. We have a display with a lot of those images that they would put in different products. We got a whole section over there at the Hidden.
People don't like this. Braxton said FBAs are the cool kids table. They literally are, and people hate this. But look how many discussions that people keep having about FBAs. Like literally, we're over here minding our freedom and business, but then suddenly FBA is a hate group. FBA this, FBA is like the KKK, FBA. It's like, come on, bruh. Every day, mind you, look at the 154 Tether podcast. God Flea and some other dude named Akbar, 2 Africans, 2 Nigerians, but all they talk about is black Americans, FBA, black. It's like you're African. Why isn't it African? It's literally called 154. The 1 is the continent of Africa. The 54 is 54 countries. They spend more time talking about this continent. When they say the one continent they're talking about isn't America, but all their content or the majority of their content is about FBAs and black Americans. So all these other people that try to say it's a code, it's just online, all it is an ethnic lineage identifier. It's no different than someone calling themselves African American. It's just people are rejecting that term because it's not codified enough and it doesn't fully explain or encompass what our lineage and culture is about, which is why many people are adopting that term. That's all it is. But I was trying to get up out of here, but it looks like I've been joined by a guest. Hold on, let me just lead this up real quick. Hold on, is that really you, Cloudness?
Yes, sir. What's poppin', fam?
What's good with you, doggy? I was about to get up out of here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, brother, man. I was on TikTok, man. I was on this panel with they were talking about black nationalism and everything. And
who you was with, Black Alpha?
No, I was on with this dude named Rebel and some other ones, and Indigenous and all of them. Anyways, but like always, you had these pan goofies and these Africans. Look, the prompt didn't even. It said FBAs, and we should be black nationalists, right? And here they came. Oh my God, dog! I'm talking about they redirected the whole conversation, dude. Like it was a good panel at first, you know what I'm saying? And that's all they're here to do is redirect the motion, dog. We got to stop even engaging these people, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I only got time. Listen, we've wasted enough time. We have wasted enough time with these people already, dog. They're only here to cause dissension, dog. That's all they're here for. And we got to stop engaging that nonsense.
Yeah, because it redirects the time wasting trolls and tethers.
Yeah, right? Dude, because it redirects what the point of the whole video is about. You know what I mean? Like, they just come to be contrarians, dog. That's all. That's all they come to do, and redirect stuff, dog, and center themselves.
That is real.
Nobody's even talking about them. Nobody was talking about these people, dog. This is their new thing. They're so low IQ, and they only have one point is to center themselves. So, I get headaches.
Hold on, Clowness. They got 2 points. The other point is to try to tie us to Africa, which is why you had to say I'm from Brownsville, because they kept talking about mud huts and y'all African. So so they bogged down the conversation to make this generic
listen. The crazy thing is that's all they're doing, dog. And like to even engage in them is a waste of time. Like we can't even get off. Like I was on a panel before that was on there with Halo, and she was talking about I forgot, but here they came. Here they come, dog. Like, I can't even watch these. Like, a lot of times I don't like to go in the rooms because I know before too long they gonna come in there and start doing their little spiels, and it's the same
just
shit.
Yelling, yeah, exactly.
And it's the same thing. They come up. but this on this panel that I was on with the dude Rebel, and all they did was get on the panel and was up there doing all their nonsense, and then they got flagged, then they got taken down, and that's why I came up with a YouTube. I was like, well, fuck it, it's almost time for Stabby and shit. And so I see you was up. I said, let me go ahead and go to see B-Eazy real quick. But dog, it's so frustrating. But the thing is, every time you give them a light of day, dog, you can't even let them on your panels because it's gonna be some bullshit. You
Just
know what I
like
mean?
that dude Tether knew, right? It's like
Dude,
how moist
and that's why it's hard to be
panels.
Yes, dude, it's crazy. And oh my god, dog,
To keep it real, he been on more FBA panels than me.
Yes, I know. I'll be like, I'll be finding new people because he be. Oh my god, dog. Man, dude, you talking about like the last time when you was up there and I literally got a headache, bro. And I don't like to be like that because you know why? I want to reach out and touch you. If you give me a headache, I want to give you a reason to feel some pain that I got. That's why I don't even got time to spit fight with these people, dog. Because it's really pointless. You know what I'm saying? It really is, and it's just a time waste and a brain drain, dog.
They think you just on. They think you just online bluffing.
No,
that's
and I tell them, I said, you got all them Twitter fingers. Send the address, Playboy. That we can stop all this nonsense. I'm like that dude.
Like
Indigenous.
We can end this right now.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we can end all that, man. We can just send the addy. You talking all that nonsense? Send the address, yo. Straight up. I'm sick of talking because I don't really want to talk to you. But since you want to talk so much, I'm gonna give you something to cry about. So stop it. So that's, you know what I mean? Like that's what time I'm on. And so I'll be really frustrated, bro, because I just want to reach out and touch. My hands itch, to reach around somebody's throat. That's what it is for. So physical contact. Stop playing.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling you on that because now I like a lot of the spaces. Sometimes I can't always tune in live because, like you said, sometimes the tethering be going too far and it be obnoxious. So I got to go watch the playback. So I'm able to kind of fast forward. You know what I mean? Because some of that tethering be too toxic where it's like, bro, I can't, like you said. That's why I felt you when you said you got a headache, right? So somebody has to do it, right? Somebody has to break and challenge them. But it's like sitting through that stuff, like, bro, you really will get a headache, like with all of the lies that they be telling, all of the trying to co-opting, bro. They saying literally all of your culture, they're saying like it came, like literally everything you do is from Africa. Now they saying red beans and rice comes from Africa. They saying like the hip hop, yeah.
There's one goofy dude. Listen, because we had some real deep scholars up there, and they were really like breaking it down. They were giving scholarship. But the thing is, we need to stop giving scholarship because we're giving the game away.
So that makes it easier for them to tether, right? Yeah, they take notes.
Sold, not told, dog. And that's the problem. It's too much talking. I'm about action. I ain't got no time to talk, dog. I ain't got no time for that talking shit. I'm done with talking. We've been talking. I'm done talking. I want to.
Yeah, it's like we've already said enough.
Walking. You know what I mean? That's what
like,
I
bro,
feel.
We've said enough, cuz. So it's like what more is there to say? And what's understood need not be explained. See, they already understand this stuff. It's just they're like, it's the time wasting tethers and troll, right? So they'll know that, hey, Cloudness, you really rooted in the soil, but then they have you arguing about Africa, a place that you never been. No, you really from there. No, man. See, you just hate Africa. It's like, bruh, nothing about my culture, my lifestyle.
I'll be from Africa when I walk on your face. Yeah, I'll be walking all over your face, and then I'll be African. Yeah, I'll show you how they do it over there. That's how they've been doing it over there in Warren all the time. Yeah, I can show you how much African I got in me, and I put my foot up your ass. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah,
that boy gonna show him how what the Zulu.
Yeah, I'll just show you how to put boot to ass. That's what I can show you. Because I ain't got no time to talk. I'm sick of it. It frustrates me. Like I fall asleep on Tariq a lot of times, man, because he gets to spewing with these dudes. And
bro, that's what I was trying to say. Like, that's why I said, like, it will start off, like, he'll start off chopping in, and then there'll be a bunch of tethers. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm out of here. Like,
they get in more than we get in.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I said, like, I'll have to go back and watch the playback, then fast forward and all this other stuff. I personally, like, I wouldn't mind seeing like a reoccurring, you know what I mean? Like even if it's like, okay, cool, Black Alpha come, he says peace, real quick, drop down. Afro come, you know what I mean? I don't care if it's the same people, because I know you trying to like, here, let me talk to the family and all this stuff. But it's like, bro, sometimes there be cats on there that's just like fanboy and they excited to talk to him. I'm like, bro, this nigga didn't have anything to say. Then you got tethers, and like you said, bro, like it be somebody that be about to cook, and then it's like, damn, you dropped him hella quick. But then like the tether got like, damn,
Yeah,
like
he got 30 minutes. He got 30 minutes of nonsense babble. You know what I'm saying? And I understand you want to debunk them, and then listen, I'm done with this nonsense. Like I don't care. They don't listen. They're not even on the same level as us, dog. For us to even talk to them, it's a pleasure for them to even be around us. It's a pleasure for them to meet us. You know what I mean? They haven't accomplished anything, and it's more of them over there than there is over here. Stop it. Y'all got all that smoke. Listen, the Jamaicans, there was a Jamaican dude on there, and he was on there trying to give all this nonsense. Dude, you got more smoke for us than you got for them Chinese and them people over there tearing your ass up in your country. You can't even go to your own beaches. What we got going on. But you can't even go to your own beach. Okay? Learn to fight and get on your beach first before you over here talking about what we need to be doing. Okay? Get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the nonsense. I'm ready. Listen, but you know what? On the real, I know what their strategy is, because they really trying to stay in America. So we put boot to ass, then they get those visas where they've been harmed. That's what they trying to do. They trying to get us right so riled up the jaw head and bash their ass upside the head so they can actually stay over here. Because right now they getting their ass up out of here.
Visas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dog. Because right now they're getting their ass deported.
Then they get citizenship.
Yeah, so they just come in and try to. They like, oh my god! But listen, I'll go ahead and oblige you though, because I'm sick of your mouth running. I'll go ahead and oblige you, so you can then I can really get to you. Okay, so you be staying over here, then you really get your ass toe up. Okay, then you can't flee back. So keep it up. All right, that's the time I'm on. I'm sick of it. I'm really tired of it, brother. I really am. I'm pissed. You know what I mean? Like,
shout out to Roger Meadows. You said,
is he here?
Yeah, Roger. Is Sabby going live? She about to go live, right?
I don't know.
I live tonight?
I don't know. I didn't. That's why I shot over here, because I didn't know if he was or not.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Roger, is Sabby about to go live? Oh, you said no, she's not going live tonight. I'm all the way out here in Suffolk County, and I got somebody in the back, but like honestly, I'm about to get up out of here. I really don't. Yeah, this person dropped. She told me no show tonight. Yeah, I got tether fatigue, bro. I got troll fatigue as well. So I'm about to. I'll play a little bit more of this, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. So I do appreciate y'all for rocking, but the title. I mean, this kind of went all over the place because the trolls did kind of derail the show, but it was okay. But we're just talking about how Target has targeted black people with this disgusting Jim Crow costume. And this was Tariq's perspective. And I'm going to play like a couple more minutes of this, and then we'll be up out of here.
History Museum, how they would make toys with these images, kids' puzzles, books, clocks, salt and pepper shakers. I mean, they would put that type of imagery.
And shout out to the sister Sabby. And Frank says she did a good. Oh, you didn't see that, Roger? Hold on, Roger. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Roger, you didn't see this? And apparently Sabby isn't going live, Cloudness. So yeah, Target sold this and they were like, oopsie, my bad. You got to watch it on the rewind. Yeah, so they made this costume and said, hey, this is just a circus clown and all this stuff. What's the big deal, bro? And all this other stuff. And then with the backlash, and they were like, ooh, Lord, my bad. We sorry. It's like, huh? Like that. It took a lot. They said that they have a very stringent, rigorous, and strict vetting process. So how did this get through? And you said Indiana politicians and their creed people are people wrong. But peep this, right? Isn't that a class issue? Where's all the DSA wackos? Where are all these quote unquote progressive lefts? They don't care because of the demographics of Gary, Indiana. They always love to talk about all lives matter and a rising tide lifts all boat. Okay, then go help Gary, Indiana. Don't make it about race. It shouldn't matter how many black people are in Gary, Indiana. Just go help them because it's a class issue, right? But that's not what they're saying. They're looking at the demographics of Gary and they're like, well, seems to be a nig problem, right? Same thing with Flint, Michigan, right? Well, is that not a class issue? They love to talk about it's about poor people, and poor people aren't just black, right? Okay, cool. Well, then help the poor people in Flint, not because they're black, because they're poor. That's a class issue. But they don't want to help them. Help the poor people in Gary, Indiana, not because they're black, it's just because they're poor. That's a class issue. But they're not helping them. The same thing happened in Jackson, Mississippi, a predominant black city. Hey, help them because they're poor, not because they're black. Well, it's a black city, so we ain't helping them. So this is all it is. But where are the whack jobs, right? Where are the DSA? Where are the think about this. Whether it's Zoran Mamdani, whether it's that El Sayed dude, whether it's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? Why are they always talking about Palestine? Last time I checked, Palestine is in a different region, different continent, right? Meanwhile, Gary, Indiana is in the United States. All of these people claim to love America, but then they don't care about an American city. They care more about Gaza than Gary, Indiana. And I'm not saying I don't care about what's happening in Gaza, but what is more impactful to you as an American? Making sure that people in Gary are okay, or making sure that Gaza is okay? But they've already convinced you that, hey, we should focus more on Gaza over Gary, right? What about Netanyahu? No, what about the people in Gary, Indiana? Facts to them is Gaza over Gary. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's all they care about. So if I say, fine, you care about Gaza, I ain't gonna hold you. But I care about Gary more. Well, what about the Palestinians? What about them, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't wish harm on them. Just as well, I'm sure you don't wish harm on the people in Gary. But I need to focus on my people here. I'm an American first person. Right? I'm not against helping other nations, but you got to help yourself first. If the neighbor's kid is starving and your kid is starving, are you going to look at your beautiful kid and say, hey, I know you're starving, but I got to go help the neighbor's kid because they're starving. And you know what? They've been starving longer than you. Like, huh? Like, that wouldn't make any sense. You need to help your kid first, right? You need to help your countrymen first. I'm all for helping other people, but I'm not for feeding the neighbor's starving kid before you feed your kid. And then you look at your kid. Well, I mean, have some compassion. The neighbor kid was starving. Have some compassion. Look what's happening in Gaza. Okay, cool. I do have compassion for Gaza. But if you want me to be emotionally distraught, I have more compassion for Congo. I have more compassion for Sudan. Right. So then they want you to try to pick and choose, and they want you to hold Gaza as the pinnacle of atrocities. Right. But I thought you guys didn't want a hierarchy of oppression. I thought you didn't want the oppression Olympics, but that's exactly what they want. I was even on Sabby's call-in one time, and let's just say an unnamed person was saying, and none of us know what it's like to have bombs rain down on us. It's like, come on, bruh. So what are you trying to say, right? Because if my families have been brutalized, lynched, hung, mass incarcerated, you know what I mean, castrated, sodomized, enslaved, I'm supposed to say, well, you didn't have bombs dropped on you, so what? Ignore all of the history of this country, ignore all of the systemic oppression that's currently going on because, hey, you don't got bombs being dropped on you right now, so just forget about it. So you're trying to create a hierarchy of oppression. You're trying to say that I should value another suffering as a higher priority than my own. Nah, I'm good. Yeah, like Cloudin said, no, I don't give a flying fig about none of that, but that's what they want. They want you to really think about it, right? When it comes to black issues, and this is why I had a huge issue about with Brianna Joy Gray. And I like Brianna. She's a beautiful sister. She's brilliant. But this whole like class first analysis, she did a interview with some dude named Eddie Glaude where she had to like kind of admit that she essentially was like, when black people was on some reparation stuff, she was on no, forget the reparations. We need to fight for universal health care. And since we have disproportionate health outcomes, if we get universal health care, that will kind of be like a form of reparations. But nobody says that for anyone else, right? We got Pramila Jayapal trying to fight for reparations for illegal immigrants, and no one is talking about health care. They're talking about cold hard cash. They keep talking about the dollar is losing value, but suddenly they just keep giving a bunch of people dollars, right? They gave millions and millions to Jewish people in cold hard cash for reparations because their feelings were hurt. None of them were lynched. None of them were mass incarcerated. None of them were castrated. None of them were sodomized, right? None of them were forcibly penetrated. All people were saying was globalize the intifada and free Palestine. And guess what? Trump, his cronies, Kathy Hochul, and plenty of other people said that was enough to give them millions of dollars, right? And where were the leftists, right? The leftists, the socialists, none of them were talking about, hey, that's woke or anything like that. And shout out to Trey One. Hey, Trey One, bro, you look happy as heck in your profile pic. I like that. I appreciate that. Good to see that you're smiling. So salute to Trey One. You said with the blackouts. Oh, hold on. Roger says Moses West Freeman invented atmospheric water generator that makes water out of thin air. We need solar batteries that can power a home on one charge for 6 months to a year on one charge. Gary needs this. Well, didn't something happen to that person? Some suspicious occurrence happened to that person? Let me know what happened to him. Yeah, and like Cloudness says, I got to worry about mines first. And then now they're trying to shame you into worrying about your stuff. When they say America first, and I'm not talking about from the bigoted mentality that some MAGA maniacs and morons have, I have from I want to see the enrichment and enfranchise of my country. I'm America first, right? If I want to see, and they always say love thy neighbor, right? How could I love thy neighbor, but I'm focused on what's happening in Bogota? I'm focused on what's happening in Bangladesh. My neighbor isn't in Bangladesh. I'm in Oakland. My neighbor is in Oakland, but somehow I'm supposed to be worried about where? Thailand? China? Singapore? No. Loving thy neighbor means my neighbor, right? So all of these biblical scriptures, love thy neighbor, but send billions to Israel. Israel isn't my neighbor. Yeah, they're not your neighbor, but they're an ally. An ally to who? The military industrial complex? So no, bro. This is all of these, Christian contradictions, right? Talking about love thy neighbor and all this other stuff while you're sending billions to bomb other people, right? Nothing Christian about that. At least it's not supposed to be. Actually, it's very Christian. You said Tulsa and Philly had bombs dropped on them, but then they saying, well, that was a long time ago, and what bombs are being dropped now? And if you look at the Gazans, and Bibi Netanyahu and genocide this and genocide that. Well, we've lived through a genocide. We are currently being ethnically cleansed, ethnically displaced, right? It's a milder version of a genocide. And then on top of that, like, why are we pretending like the only genocide is happening in Gaza, right? There's a genocide in Sudan, Darfur, right? There's a genocide in Congo. So if it's just about genocide, well, the Gazan genocide is getting a lot of coverage, right? So fine, y'all continue to cover Gaza and I can cover Congo and Sudan. Either way, I can't be talking about Gaza, right? Because y'all have given it enough airtime. I hope that they get everything that's owed to them. So y'all continue talking about them and I'll talk about the suffering other places. Because isn't that what they say to us? All lives matter, all hate matters and all this stuff, right? So all genocides matter. So why would I be fixated on Gaza? But what I was saying about Breonna Joy Gray and the Cornell West and the ilks like that, right? These people are brilliant minds, beautiful people, but when it comes to standing on lineage, ethnic, cultural, national business, they're more of the open borders and the all lives matter rhetoric to usurp whatever we have in terms of lineage based stuff. And then when we focus on lineage based, they want to try to broaden it to like some generic African race based stuff. They condition us to care more about other problems over ours. Yeah, think about this, right? So this is what Breonna Joy Gray was saying, like, oh, well, when they talk to younger voters, right, the reason why they didn't vote for Biden and blah, blah, blah was because of Gaza. And I don't think that's true, but let's just say it was true. Think about how stupid that is, right? Black people are being displaced in their own communities. They have the worst health outcomes, but politically, people like Breonna is championing them for their main issue to be Gaza. And let's just say that we were out in the streets stomping for Gaza. Guess what? The quote unquote black schools are failing, but is any Gazan going to help that, right? Black people are they say last hired, first fired. Is any Gazan person gonna help them that? And then on top of that, the quote unquote Palestinians are classified as white. You can try to pretend, no, they ain't white, they Arab. There's no race called Arab. They is Muslim. There's no race called Muslim. They Middle Eastern. There's no race called Middle Eastern. And no one is forcing them to check the white box. There's always been a box that says other. You can check other and write in. Now on 2030 census, there will be a box for them to check. It's called Middle Eastern North African. But up until this point, including now, Egyptians, white. Lebanese people, white. Syrians, white. Palestinians, white. Israelis, white. They're not white. Well, why are they classified as that then, right? So again, these people are classified as white, but they want you to call them something other than that, right? Imagine there's a box and they say, hey, how do you identify? And then you check the box and say Christian. And I say, hey, you're a Christian. Don't call me a Christian. It's like, bro, you chose to check a box to identify yourself as Christian. Now I call you what you are legally categorized and identifying as, and then you're rejecting that. And that's what they do. They classify the white box. You call them white. Why y'all call us white? Because you are. And if you're not, then why are you lying? If you're lying about your lineage, what else won't you lie about? They do that the same thing with the chosen people, right? That chosen group of people that sometimes they wear these little tiny hats, right? 92% of them are classified as white. There was no gun. No one tortured them. No one held C4 over their baby and said, if you don't check the box, we're going to push the button. They chose to check that because it's an accurate description of their racial makeup. Many of these J people descend from Europe. And, you know, I don't need to say much more after that. You said, I'll watch my Yanks tonight. Who they playing tonight? No problem, Trey One. Appreciate that for you sliding through. You said crazy because I watch Sabby a lot also. Yeah, I like Sabby, you know. Sabby is one of those gal, and she's very humble, so I appreciate Sabrina. And you said rest in paradise of my Brooklyn queen, Aaliyah. Yeah, I loved Aaliyah. Not only was she fine, the body was on point, and the talent was just surreal. Like her voice, her dancing, you know, she is one of those ones. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the stream. I may come back here later and hit y'all. I see you in the back. You said DM. Come on, Roger. Bruh. Man, Roger, you love doing this, bro. So this is Roger Meadows, Mr. Nassau County, the East Coast finest. But how long is it, Roger? Because bro, you be sending these kind of long videos, bro, and I'm trying to get up out of here. And just because, like I said, not only was you late, now you trying to send me a video to play. So yeah, bro, Roger, you the bro, but I gotta hit you.
How please?
Nigga, please.
How? Nigga, what? Nigga, please.
Nigga, please.
What?
Okay, so Roger wants me to play a video. I'm about to get up out of here. So you said not long. I mean, not long to you. You'll say 10 minutes and, you know, you say that's not long. So before I play this, let me just hit y'all with a quick visual so I can pull up this video that Roger requested. And I mean, hey, sprinkle me too, man. Hit me in the Cash App, man. Give me a $5, a 10 spot. I mean, you know, hit your boy with some. But yeah, so Roger, I'm gonna play the video and then I'm gonna be up out of here. So give me like 45 seconds and I'll pull the video up.
You ain't know. Let's just be easy. Ay, ay. Let's just be easy. That dude. Be easy. Is that dude? You hear me? You feel me? Ooh, ooh. B-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a video and Roger wanted me to play this. Hold on. So, I mean, next time, tell me the context too, Roger. You like play this point of a dang on 2-hour discussion with no context. So, Roger, what the heck? I mean, I did see some of this video. I believe this was in reference to the Earn Your Leisure and all this stuff when they said they were done with the black community and all this stuff. Then they had to issue some kind of fake generic apology, etc., etc. So let me see what Roger is talking about before I proceed. And Braxton says they were either escapees or liberated prisoners of war from the unfortunate Holocaust. Correct. We suffered our own Holocaust here. Holocaust is slaughter on a mass scale, a systemic targeted slaughter of a people. And that's what happened here. And shout out to Big Rig. He's still rocking out. I'm about to shut this thing down. You said marker. Bro, I know you. Come on, bro. Do I got to hit you again, Roger? I know you said marker 4530. I said, what is the context? Oh, okay. So Cloudness. So I can truly thank Cloudness for this because Cloudness sent. Hey, but yeah, Roger, you sending me stuff with no context and no timestamps?
You know what I'm saying? I don't like that shit.
Nope.
I don't like that shit.
I don't like that, bruh. The only reason, and I do mean the only reason why I'm playing this is
because I'm gonna keep it G real. I don't fuck with you because you disrespecting me. You disrespect my hood.
you lucky, cuz. You lucky. But let's get into this thing. And like Clowney said, hey, we still love you, Roger, but you know, gotta hit you. You feel me? You lucky I didn't really hit you the way I wanted to hit you, Roger. You feel me? But you know, we all good. So let's get back into this. All right. Again, no context, Roger. You gave me no context, but I don't think we need context when we got Tez on 10. And salute to Tesla and Figaro. This sister is always on code. I appreciate. Yeah, that's where the goofiness comes in, like Frank said. F-U-C-K Candace. How you pro-black but love Candace Owens? Yeah. All these cats be doing that, like she spent her whole time bashing the community, and when she bashes the community, she's talking about you. She's not only talking about you, she's talking about your mama. Not only talking about your mama, your daddy, your grandpappy, and all that other stuff. But because you can try to get her booked on a show and get some viral content, and then maybe she is sweet, or maybe she says a few things you agree with, and then suddenly you're willing to overlook all of the disgusting stuff. I'm cool, bruh. And you said keep playing, she's gonna cook her. Okay, how much more, bro? Because like I said, bro, like the no context, you gave me the timestamp, but like how long, bro? Like but you said watch where she gets at Candace after Mike is coming. when Mike is done, you're gonna love it. Okay. All right, man. I'm trusting y'all. You know what I mean? Don't let me down. Do not let me down. So let's get back into this thing. But again, yeah, I don't get anybody that's always trying to say, well, the black community don't like Candace because she's conservative. It's like, no, people don't like her because she's a tether. That's why people don't like her. But hold on, let me try to get this one out of here and pull this back up. All right. Okay. So now I'm gonna have to rewind this back and fully get into it, but I do have to address, yeah, like, come on, Killer Mike. Now I see what Frank Nitty is saying. Frank Nitty is like, that's a form of selling out. It is, because this is like, you're guilty by association, right? Again, if it's a bunch of thugged out gangbangers on the street and you know every one of them got bodies, but hey, I don't got a body, I'm just hanging out with them. When the cops pull you up, it's like, bro, get in the car too. You're guilty by association. They're not going to wait for you to explain. No, I'm just hanging out with them. Yeah, they killed people, but not me. I'm just trying to hang out and look cool. They're like, bro, you shouldn't have been with them, right? Wrong place, wrong time, right? So this is a little bit further and more sinister than that. It's more severe and more sinister because they know how coonish that Candace Owens has been. And then he talking about, well, I do appreciate her standing up and talking about what happened to them kids in Gaza. I do. It's like, because she's talked about some kids being illegally sterilized. She didn't break that story. That story is over a decade old. Even Israelis had to admit to that. So all she did was take some old news clippings and then highlight it on her massive show. Oh, I do appreciate her because not everybody would talk about it. So again, we're giving people credit for the bare minimum, right? Mind you, these are people who pretend to be religious, to pretend to be morally righteous and Christian and all this stuff. And then they're praising someone for doing the right thing, right? It's like, bro, what are we doing here, bro? It's like, not to say that you can't praise people, but praise and glaze and, almost deify somebody because she was late to the party. Candace Owens was late on the Gaza story, but because she has the biggest platform, ooh, I love what Candace is doing for those guys and people. What, talking? That's all she's doing is talking. She hasn't really done anything for Gaza, but then they want to flip it. Oh, because she has a big platform, by her signal boosting what's happening in Gaza is somehow helping them. And I'm not going to say that it's, hurting them, but is any legislation going to be passed to help Gaza based on Candace Owens' content catalog? It's not. So then again, what is she doing besides making content? And then people are praising her like, oh my God, oh Lord, she good at content. That girl, they're good at what? Creating content. So again, you're just praising her for being a content creator. I mean, how is she any different than an entertainer, an actress? You don't want to praise entertainers or actors because well, they're just entertainers and they're actors, right? But then you're praising Candace, who's just a known grifter and content creator, an anti-black one at that. But it's like, yeah, but she praised the Palestinians. But I thought you said she was black, and she spent her whole entire career disrespecting black people. But not just any black people. She delineated. She disrespected the foundational Black American population because Candace Owens says, yeah, when they try to get her to disparage Caribbean, she doesn't do that. She has a Caribbean bias because that's what she identifies as. She used blackness as a cudgel, as a barrier to say, I'm black, and that's why I'm saying how disgusting the blacks are. But when you try to put a spotlight on her blackness, hey, I'm not that kind of black, I'm Caribbean. Okay. And then when we say, hey, well, stay out of foundational Black American business, you need to talk about Caribbeans. And then she said, see, that's division, right? Candace Owens claims to be biracial, which, okay. She also said that her kids are mixed. She never said her kids are black. She said her kids are mixed, and she's pregnant again, and she's going to give birth to another mixed kid. It's a beautiful thing, right? Because humanity is beautiful, right? But she's identifying her kids as mixed. Some people will try to project proselytize and profess her kids to be black. But is that how she's going to raise them? Is she going to raise her kids to be black, or is she going to raise them to be mixed? She already identified them as mixed, which means she'll raise them as such. And then if you say, well, her kids ain't black, her kids are mixed. See, that's that colorism. Like, what the hell are you talking about? And that's why I already did a stream. People trying to project and proselytize when it comes to blackness on someone else, and then you try to do a trauma bond. Well, if the cops see us and pull us over, they gonna think you black. It's like, well, there's reports that show that even with a lighter skin, that they're more preferred, and they're definitely treated much more favorably, right? Somebody that's extra midnight black, you know what I mean, and his name is Tyrone, versus somebody that looks like Blake Griffin. Both of them getting pulled over by the cops. Yeah, they won't be treated as a white person, but guess what? The Blake Griffin person will be treated better than the darker person. This is just not conjecture. These are studies that show this and back this up, and people already know. It's just they want to try to pretend as if, they don't. But it looks like Tez is about to cook. And Cloudness says, so I guess you're not going off yet. Well, I was trying to get off. I was seriously trying to get off, Cloudness, but
I'm gonna keep it G real. I don't fuck with you cause you disrespecting me. You disrespect my hood by telling me take off my flag, asking how gangster I was, nigga. You lucky on that day I was acting cool, cuz. I told you I ain't got time for that, but nigga, today I got time, cuz.
And yeah, no, I'm gonna play more of it, but I can't just let it ride without pausing it and stuff like that too. That would be they try to say that's inauthentic, etc., etc. So I do gotta pause it and give a commentary. And I've been letting it ride. Nigga, this video is like 2 hours long. How much? It's an hour left in this video. Like, how much more am I supposed to let it ride? But I was gonna let it ride. I just have to interject. Just to make the video transformative. But yeah, that's why I said I appreciate Tez. She's on 10, but when I see Tez, she be on a milli. You feel me? She's always putting on for the lineage, and this is what a real sister looks like. I can't respect Candace Owens. The reason why I had to pause it is because she said I'm a black woman raising black kids, was raised by a black family. See, Candace Owens can't say that. Candace said she was biracial, right? Since when? So on one hand, there's videos of her saying she's biracial. Then there's videos of her saying that she's black. And then there's videos of her saying that she's Caribbean, trying to delineate. And mind you, people are trying to say, hey, we're being divisive and all this other type of stuff, right? But Candace Owens admits to a Caribbean bias and says that she's raising mixed kids. So go talk to the mixed people. Go talk to the mulattoes. Notice that all these mixed and biracial people, all of their smoke, all of their complaints and grievances is with us. They say they're mixed and say that, hey, we're a separate race. We're not either black or white. We're not either Asian or whatever, right? We're mixed. And I say, hey, that's a beautiful thing for humanity, but you're having a different discussion. I don't go in Asian places and try to wag my finger and tell them what they need to do and how the Asian community needs to get its act together. That's for the Asian community to, work within each other to clean up themselves. These people who say, hey, I don't want to be identified as black, but I want to be able to say nigga, and I want to be able to wag my fingers at black people because, hey, I got one drop of melanin, right? Or one of my parents is black. Yeah, but you don't see yourself as black. Also, one of your parents is white or one of your parents is Asian, right? Notice that the people that have one drippity drop of blackness in them, that their first claim to fame is I should be able to say nigga. And then the other thing is that, they want to scold the black community while trying to uplift whatever their respective mixed race identity is. Mixed race people should be having mixed race discussions, but that's not what they're doing. They draw on the line of sand and make a binary choice. Look at Drake. Drake is mixed, but when he wants notoriety, he's saying nigga, 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 which is why Kendrick Lamar saying we don't want to hear you say nigga no more, right? So Drake is blackity black, black, black. Like, but is he though? You're projecting that onto him. When people are asking him what he is, he says that he's biracial. So saying you're biracial is saying that you're something other than being black. And that's okay. It's perfect. But don't say that, hey, when he gets in the booth with Lil Wayne, he's black. But then when he goes around his Jewish family, then he's mixed. No, if you're going to be mixed, you're mixed all the time. And you shouldn't be mistreated and abused because you're mixed. You also shouldn't be in black business because you're not black, right? This is not me being colorist. This is based on your self-identification, right? If somebody, let's just think of it in terms of teams, right? Because whether you like it or not, your ethnic group is your team, you know? And if somebody was on the Lakers and they say, I don't want to be on the Lakers anymore, I'm going to go on the Warriors, you wouldn't still be trying to share the playbook with them, the Lakers playbook. You still wouldn't be trying to invite them into the Lakers facility to train with you. Now, when you see them on the street, you're not going to try to bash their head but you know, that's a Warriors team member. You know what I mean? I'm a Laker, you know what I mean? So I got to try to do what's best for the Lakers, right? So that's how it is, right? These people, when they delineate, hey, I'm mixed, so I'm trying to do what's best for mixed people. But hey, also I'm black, so I want to say the N-word and I want to meddle in black business. Like, nah, go find you some mixed business. Go create a mixed, you know, a mixed Wakanda, you know, a biracial Wakanda. Hey, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is you're saying you're something other than what I am. You're delineating. And you feel me? If there's a delineation, then, you know, there's going to need to be some separation. She right. Candace talked black family and black fathers with the whitey. Yeah, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, you're talking about black family and black nuclear. You don't have a black family, so you can't speak from experience. That's like me getting with an Asian chick. It's like, yeah, I mean, I got me a Filipino chick, so this is what Asians need to do. And I know what Asians need to do because look, my chick is Filipina and Filipinos are Asian. It's like, no. And notice she calls herself biracial, but okay, if you're biracial, bi means two, right? So why don't you spend half the time talking about the black community and the other half talking about whatever your other racial identity is? They never do that, right? And notice is all the burden is always on black people to accept these people as black. Hey, why won't y'all accept mixed people as black? It's like we do. We're the most accepting and most inclusive. But the true question is, why won't these mixed people be accepted as white? See, they'll try to convince you that the one draw rule is really a thing, but it only works one way, right? So if you have a big bowl of vanilla ice cream and you put one drop of chocolate Hershey syrup, then suddenly that's chocolate ice cream now. But if you have a big bowl of chocolate ice cream and you put one drop of vanilla syrup, no, that's still chocolate ice cream. Huh? And that's essentially what they do with the one drippity drop rule. They allow a rigid line, but no reverse, right? So one drippity drop of blackness, that means you're black. But if you have several million drops of whiteness, nah, you know, your complexion is too dark. So you're not really white, you know what I mean? Look at Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, you know, presents as a white dude, but he may have some features that can be associated with another demographic. So now they try to say, hey, well, Andrew Tate is black, but he doesn't see himself as black. He says that he's mixed, right? So his daddy is black, and some say that you are what your father are, right? But his mom is also white. So why should he erase, you know, his lineage? So, and, you know, Andrew Tate is a lunatic. But what I'm saying is, why can't we call him white? No, you have to call them black. Nah, I want to call them white. Well, just call them mixed. It's like, no, I want to call them white. Why can't we call Obama white? No, you have to call him the first black president. He's a biracial Kenyan. Yeah, he's black. He's a biracial Kenyan. And then they try to emphasize on the black, but you can't refute what I'm saying. So answer this slowly. Is Obama biracial? Yes. Is he a Kenyan? Yes. So when I say that he's a biracial Kenyan, am I speaking facts? Yes. So when I say that he's a biracial Kenyan president, is that a fact? Yes. So what's the issue? You didn't call him black. It's just very goofy. But let's let the sis test cook before I get up out of here. Oh, snap. Brownsville bully. He went from the Brownsville bunny hopper to the Brownsville blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice hopper. Salute the cloudness and your beautiful queen. Hope you all have a royal union. And salute to Frank Nitty still rocking out. Bro, I had to hit him. The Brownsville bunny hopper. Bro, that boy was bouncing. That boy, I mean, I'm just saying, that boy had more bunnies than a bunny ranch. But it's okay, Cloudless. I don't know if Dr. Umar got on your line or what, but I appreciate the brother. He went from a bunny hopper to a Bantu hopper. Salute to the brother and salute to the beautiful black queens out there. That's what's up. Congrats. Hey, salute to Taz. But now I see what look, I get it, bruh. So let me put it like this. Hey, I'm pretty cold on the grill, but if I invite some of my bros over and somebody want to take over the grill and they like, hey, bro, I'm finna whip up some, and somebody is cooking, I'm like, oh, bro, like, man, that tri-tip, them ribs smell like smacking. You feel me? Sometimes you just gotta let them cook. And don't worry, I'm gonna play a little bit more. Right. But like I said, I have to make the video transformative. I can't just play it without interjections. Right. When somebody is cooking, I'm sorry, bro. We don't need all the ad libs, bro. This ain't a rap video. You know what I mean? This ain't a freestyle. When somebody is rapping, ooh, uh-huh. Okay. It's like, bro, we don't need the ad libs, the ha-has and kikis. She's over here cooking. And then the dudes in the bag, well, what else you got to say? And it's like, bro, just let her cook and let her land the plane. She is a very eloquent orator, bro. We didn't need the little extra little side bus in the thing. Oh, did they get me already? Oh, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I think I think, like I said, the content had like struck me. I don't know what it was. Let me try to see on my channel. Cause first of all, could y'all still hear me? Oh yeah, see, yeah. So one of the things. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. So one of my streams got struck. I told y'all, like Cloud was like, man, let it play and all this other stuff. It's like, bro, this is what I'm trying to tell you, bro. Like, for one, my channel is already shadow banned. Even when I be chopping it on some good game, like, bro, they be blocking my streams. That's what I'm saying. Just when it was getting good. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and just stop this down. Maybe it's not only on YouTube, it's also on the creator as well. A lot of these other creators, they don't want people using their content, even though I'm reacting to it. And this is why I was trying to say, like, bro, it ain't just me. Like, I just want to hear myself talk and all this stuff. I try to add substantive educational and enlightenment value, but like when I'm playing this stuff, I try to let it play just so you can get a full thought. But you do, like, bruh, like, you either, man, you get what I'm saying. Just when it was getting good. Well, like I said, Roger, now, you feel me? You know, hey, Roger, y'all got me hit, man. So I gotta.
You niggas, every day the same shit. Damn,
every day the same. And like I said, I had time today just when it was getting good, but at least the sister was able to cook this stream. Hey, I ain't gonna get no monetization, but at least, you know, Roger sent me a little bit of pocket change on the Cash App. So, you know, I can respect it. Like I said, with a lot of these things, sometimes even when you react in the video, that's why sometimes I react to some of the same creators, because I know certain creators, they don't hit you with a copyright strike. And then other creators, if you do want to react to their content, you gotta like edit it, you gotta curate it. Sometimes you could only play the audio. I wouldn't think that you know, I wouldn't think that Killer Mike would have like copyright strike on his stuff like that, but hey, it is what it is. But you know, I mean, y'all get the point what she was saying, and I'll just kind of, you know, say a little bit of spiel and I'll land with this. And I do appreciate y'all rocking out with this. I wasn't planning on being on here this long, but hey, if y'all still is feeling this, I will come back and hit y'all with a double header. As long as I don't got a daggone strike, you feel me? If I got a strike, then they may not let me come back, but we'll see. And then on top of that, I may have to even the clips, bro. Like sometimes they'll sting you for the clips just because it's a clip. Man, my stream got killed by Killer Mike. Damn it. I mean, it is what it is, but I do appreciate y'all. I ain't playing no clips. It just is what it is. I played what I'm a player to stream. If I do react to it further, I'll just have to do a visual account, because even on those clips will play long enough to still give you like a strike. I've already tried it before, like Breakfast Club. Those one of the peoples too. If you try to play the Breakfast Club stuff, toast. Who else? I think it was like the Jubilee. You try to play their stuff, toast. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think it's not just about Kundis Owens. It's just about anyone. Sometimes people get into the pageantry of it all. If they like a particular creator, they'll be willing to overlook past bigotry, past buffoonery in the name of they're repeating the talking points that you like. So yeah. So that's pretty much going to be the stream. You know, if y'all want me to come back later, man, hit your boy with something. I got the Cash App scrolling. Hey, I'm taking big risks to give y'all this content. Cash App $Easy Stack. You said I'll be watching Black Alpha tonight. Yeah, salute to Black Alpha. I'll go over there and check his stream out. Like I said, it's 50-50 chance I may or may not come back and hit y'all with the double header. And I know Black Alpha is, I think, East Coast, so he should be on like any moment now. So let me just hit y'all with a visual, and then I will be up out of here. You know, leave a comment, leave a Cash App, and if you want me to come back later, I'll have something enlightening and entertaining in store for y'all. So let me hit y'all with this visual so we can get up out of here. So I'm going to take us home. Take us home. Yeah. Yeah. Hey. B-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah. Shit so hot it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. I bring the pain like an aftermath of a car wreck. There's a lot of niggas that say they real. To me, that shit is far-fetched. Them cats is pussy. They really is on some feminine stuff. I rock up on them with the 40 ounces. The definition of adrenaline rush. What it do is sweet like cinnamon puffer. My niggas is rough like Willow Pass. Grew up out on Mary Mac, but I used to hang on Willow Pass. These birds that I roll with, outcasts and misfits. For the zip lips so you get hit when the fifth spit. Flat line in your pit. Trap habits is black magic, no voodoo. Get the bands like Goku. For the cocaine, they go cuckoo. Most these niggas is foo-foo, so I'm shitting on them like doo-doo. I can't fuck with y'all like tofu. I'm just saying, man, like Goku. Bad bitches at the house with me watching Netflix or Roku. Fuck them both at the same time, and I swear to God it was so cool. Street legend, real boss, I call shots cause I'm still saucy. I know some G's to the bike crack on shite racking and fly back out to Milwaukee. When they hear me flow, they say I be burning up, burning up. Cookie to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. When you hear me flow, say I be burning up, burning up. Cookie to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up.
If you feel the vibe, like, share, and subscribe. We growing on this journey. Come and take a ride. If you wanna slide with that dude, be easy. We going all the way to the top. Believe me. All the way to the top. Believe me.
me B-Eazy. We wanna listen to B-Eazy. Ayy, we all like B-Eazy. Nah, matter of fact, we love B-Eazy. Believe me, he really that dude. Subscribe to the channel, it's easy to do. If you care, then go ahead and share this fire content, extraordinarily rare. That's why I put that on mamas, he is that dude. I put that on fathers, he is that dude. So be easy, be easy. Tell me how it feel. Ooh, tell me how it feel to be real, to be really that dude. Be easy, that dude. Ay, 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 that dude. Oh.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Follow. Be easy. You know you want to.
We're waiting. Thank you. You love me. You really love me. You're not going anywhere.